Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review, the Game of Thrones, Season 2, Episode 2, The Nightlands. And here we are, two guys that we can't deny the fact that both of us will probably fart when we die. Right, Joe?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. Big.
As I'm dying after I'm dead for hours and days on end.
It's the gift that you can keep giving after you go. It's just after you're in the Nightlands, you can just keep that smell wafting all through the night forever and ever. Everybody, welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. We're here to talk about Game of Thrones tonight on a Saturday night. It's really great to have you guys. Our good friends in the motherfucking chat are already in there talking. I got Joe Dirty Locks with me. If this is your first time joining us, please jump in the chat if you're watching us live. And if you're watching this later, share your thoughts of this episode and this season of Game of Thrones. We're going to be recapping all of Season 2 and hopefully a bunch of Season 3 as we're leading up to the beginning of Season 6. I'm super excited to get all of this out of the way. Tonight, we talk about a lot of new stuff. We see the Ironborn. We see, the Iron Islands tonight. We're going to get into all of that.
So awesome.
If you want to reach us, you can always call in at 781-990-8509 or leave a text message. You can also email me at igotissuesman@gmail.com or tweet me at igotissuesman. Those are all the awesome ways that you can reach us. But as I mentioned before, we have the chat live. We have Vince, our Red Sox fan, Lady, Sam, holy shit. We have Renwood. We have all of our good friends. Joe, did you get your hair cut? They want to know. I don't know. No, there it is. And okay, this episode, we'll get into talking about everything that happened in this episode. One of the big things happened right at the end, though, is we get to see another White Walker for the first time in a long time. It's really an awesome way to end the episode. And I remember the first time I watched this, I was extremely excited, and it had my heart beating like a crazy amount watching that particular part. So here we go. Here we motherfucking go, Joe. And last week I read a DVD commentary, listened to a DVD commentary with Dan and Dave, the two show's creators. On the DVD commentary for this particular episode, we got the Greyjoys. We got Theon and Yara or Asha, whatever. They were significantly less important information came from them than came from Dan and Dave. It was a lot of, that person's wonderful. Oh, they're so wonderful. Let me see how wonderful they are. There's a couple.
Most of the time, and that's all those things are, is just ass kissing. Like all those biography shows, it's just like ass kiss. Oh, and they were so brilliant to choose this show, and they were so brilliant to choose that show. Like most of the time, it's they were so brilliant to be lucky enough to be chosen for something, or someone's kid to be chosen for something. Like, are you kidding me? Like, they're all so brilliant and such talented people that they work with and all this shit, and like hot air up everybody's ass on those things. They're fun to watch. Don't get me wrong, they're really fun to watch, but it's God, if you ever heard a bad word on it, that would be the end of someone's career.
Especially, and Vince kind of hints at, or he doesn't hint, Vince says this in the chat, and he's absolutely right. It's more effective if you're watching show creators or directors or people that just don't give a fuck, like Trey Parker and Matt Stone, doing DVD commentaries, because they just don't give a hell, or they'll say what they really thought, or let you add a little bit of information. When it's the actors, they're so afraid to offend other actors or say anything bad that, I mean, the most we got was some interesting information from the actor that Alfie Allen talking about Peter Dinklage and where his accent came from. That was about as cool as we got. And
where did his accent come from?
I wrote it in the notes later on. I kind of forget, but there was a certain person he basically based his accent off of, and we'll get to that later in the show. But ultimately, I agree that they didn't really add too much. There'll be a couple points where I jump in on that. But this is another, I think Game of Thrones right now, as we're in our 12th episode of Game of Thrones, they haven't had a miss yet. And not that the show has many misses, but the last week's episode was maybe one of the best that we've ever talked about, and one of my favorite all-time episodes of Game of Thrones. This just comes right in and fills in all kinds of awesomeness. A lot of people, But it is fair to say we could get into a whole podcast of our problems with the way that the show portrays the Ironborn. And I'm not going to try. We do like to give some book comparisons, but I'll say this right off the bat. It's going to be too difficult to talk about every single Ironborn difference and how they fucked up the Ironborn. I still think the Ironborn are done in an interesting way, especially at the beginning when they're first introduced here. But right away, they changed everything to do with that. And let's get that all out of the way.
And not necessarily for the best in my mind. Like they change the character, the sister, just enough to make me we'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into
that's the only difference I'm really going to bring up.
Right, I'm going to not bring up all of that because it would hurt. We'd be here all night being like, well, that not happened. That's not who met Theon at the dock. This didn't happen here. This was blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into too much of that.
Yeah, there's only one part of that I'll get into, but none of the rest of it.
And someone said something really. Vince says the Ironborn are total pussies in the show. In the books, they're fucking metal.
Yes.
The pork sausage. He's not.
Will never die.
Oh, Jenny, hey guys, stayed up to watch this live for the first time. Hello from England. I live near the wall and winter has motherfucking come.
Dude, it was like we live in New England and Boston, and it was beautiful today. It was like 60 something, 65, 68. It was nice. Drove to work with my window down, drove home from work with my window down. Beautiful.
Okay. So one more thing I do want to say about the DVD commentary. It is obvious that the two actors, I know everyone loves each other, but listening to them talk together, you could tell why they played up the flirtation a lot. They both are very ridiculously flirtatious with each other in this DVD commentary, and very dirty and very funny and very foreshadowy about things that might happen to Theon later. Like, people think I'm a bad guy. Why do people think I'm a bad guy?
Come on.
Or I can't imagine anything horrible happening to you. Could you? Little things like that they talk back and forth. That's kind of funny, but it doesn't really add anything to the episode. So I just want to get that shit out of the way. Texas, it's in the 80s. Holy shit.
You bastard.
Oh my goodness. So let's start this episode because I know Joe is excited to immediately get into talking about one of his favorite character probably on Game of Thrones, and we didn't really get to see her much last week. Him that much last week.
Harry.
I forget how well she plays the little boy thing, and seeing her squatting at the beginning of the shot, taking a pee, and in the whole situation, it's really funny. And
well, you kind of think at first, what's she doing? And you hear the water trickle, and then you're like, oh, ooh.
Ari boy. So
it's one of those things you kind of think about because these are all guys. They're all traveling up north, and they're all just pissing and shitting right there, like around the corner. Like, they're not traveling far to do it. They're not hiding themselves to go, dumping shit and stuff.
Do you believe that only Gendry would be the one that would be able to figure it out?
No, I mean, you see here, Jaqen's got it figured out as well.
Yeah, he knows. He must know as well, right?
Right, absolutely.
He knows right away.
And that's why he's so intrigued, because she's playing a boy. She's doing it well. But I believe most of them are fooled. I think if it's not just Gendry and Jaqen who have figured it out, there's only one or two other people that have, and they're not saying anything. But other than that, no, I don't think anybody's really figured it out at all.
And one thing I do want to mention, I'm sorry, I got lost in my notes. One thing that they did say that the two actors added to this situation was they said at the table read for this episode, Maisie Williams' parents got a little hot and bothered of the "I'm gonna fuck you bloody" line when they said that line to.
They had to have read the books and shit. Like, why would they even be in the room?
I'm not sure about that. Because if it's a young actor, they probably have to be there. They're
of course they read the books. They read it at night with Ari. Like right after as soon as she got cast, they were like, "We're reading these books. We'll read them to you at night. You'll read them to us all day." Like, that's all it became.
He's an artist. She didn't want it. Oh, anyways. So we hear she's a method actress. She's really peeing in the water here too. So we hear the trickling water down. The opening shot is of Arya, her back to the camera. she's sitting down in a pool of water or squatting. She turns her head to the left and we hear some leaves rustle, and she turns. A horse whines and comes towards some other people, and she walks out of the water, and this is where we meet Jaqen Hagar for the very first time. She walks up,
picked up a bundle of fags there.
And she walks over to there and looks at the cage, and Jaqen immediately goes, "Lovely boy." And ultimately, a man, the other two guys kind of scare her or bother her a little bit. A man does not choose his companions. These two have no courtesy.
I must apologize for them.
A man must ask for forgiveness. You were called Ari nods. The man has honor to be Jaqen Hagar of the free city of Lorith. Now, my question is he there because he wants to be? He wouldn't be there if he didn't want to be, right?
He could be there because he's on faceless duty business or some shit. Like, he could be there from, you mean like specifically in that cage?
Right. I think he's
yes,
in that cage. He wants to be in that cage for some reason.
Maybe not.
And are the other two guys, Rogue and Butter, are they faceless men too?
No, definitely not.
So they're just tools he's using? Are they his friends? Or
nope, definitely not. See, I don't think any of those three men are together. I think maybe Jaqen got bagged killing someone because they were gotten from the black cells of the castle. So who knows how Jaqen ends up in that position? We know he's an assassin. Like, well, we don't know yet. We don't know anything about him, really. So
we get a couple of things. Yeah, we don't know. I'm sorry, we don't know. I'm sorry. I totally forgot to step in the time machine tonight, Joe. Sam said, we're talking about, I saw an interview that said Maisie Williams' mother, they read them to find out Arya's storyline. Vince says this was a metaphor for transgender people struggling to be accepted, and by gender they feel not the one they were born as. Ren says, well, that the sound of water always makes me want to use the bathroom. I can't even get through washing the dishes. And our Red Sox fan wants to know if we think that Jaqen Hagar is Syrio Forel. I personally don't think so. And I mean, I could get into maybe we should do a whole video on that at one point in time, some of those theories, but it is an interesting theory. It
is. There's so much, like, this is all we know of him. Like, who the hell knows how he ends up in that position, whether he wants to be there or it's accidental, but whatever it is, he definitely did not call Ari over for something to drink. Right. He called because he would have been asking anybody. He called Ari over because he's intrigued by Ari, because Ari is something about her.
I used to think so, and then you brought out my cynicism, Phil. about that. I'm sorry. I'm killing that. In the book, he told the sword teacher to protect his daughter. Welcome, DB. Welcome. And welcome, Dean. Welcome, my friend. Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, but it could be that Gold Cloak's dirty little secret that he did not kill Syrio Forel, but Syrio Forel knocked his ass out with his little wooden sword, because like Phil says, we don't see it.
Yep. It cuts.
When we watch that episode, you do not. It cuts. It cuts to her running away and him taking stance. Yeah, his sword gets broken, but he can easily, if he's the best swordsman in all of Bravos, I think he can take down that Kingsguard. That particular Kingsguard, absolutely. Maybe not Jamie, maybe not Barristan, but that fuck, yeah, that fuck goes down.
That fuck is going down.
He's got half a sword, big deal. There's so many weak spots on that guy's. He's got him. I say he's got him, no problem. I feel like I could take that motherfucker if he was in that suit of armor, even if he had that sword.
Yeah, Joe,
Joe,
you once went up in a bar to a 7-foot-tall NBA basketball player and challenged him to a game of one-on-one and said, "I could beat you, motherfucker." and he gave you the address of the gym to come play, and you wussied out. You did not show up. Sorry, I just had to call you out of that. Because you knew you would have got your ass kicked because he has an armor on and he would have chopped you up into pieces.
I had some words with Dennis Rodman too in a different bar in Vegas.
Yeah, you did. Different story altogether, guys. Okay, so So we get the Rogan Biter and Jaqen scene, which is really, really fun.
In case you're wondering, the first one was Purvis Ellison.
Purvis, yeah, the NBA player Purvis Ellison. Nervous Purvis. So ultimately one of the guys, Rourke, says, "You little shit, get us beer." And Arya goes, go fuck yourselves. You should have asked nicely. And Jaqen likes that the boy has more courage than sense. And we have to, of course, mention Rourke's line, "And I'll shove that stick up your bunghole and fuck you bloody." It's one of the best lines in the series.
It is. I'm a little disappointed. So I got to reiterate that after watching season 1, I read books 2, 3, 4, 5 in that order, and then book 1. And it was right before the start of season 2, so it was really fresh. And as awesome as this was, I was a little disappointed in Biter and the other guy,
Rourke or whatever.
Rourke, yeah. In just their appearance, I thought they got it slightly wrong, but that's me being a nitpicky little reader boy at the time. But other than that, the scene was amazing. I mean, just the whole interaction between her and Jaqen was fantastic, and then followed up by her and Gendry. Highlighted to me anyway exactly why she was like, "Hey boy," he was like, "Hey boy, I haven't drank anything in days. Come on, Yoren's not fucking letting them fucking starve to death and not have drink. They're men of the black. They may still be caged because he knows they'll run off, but they're fucking men of the black, so he's still feeding them and giving them water. He called them over for a reason."
And Nervous Purvis.
Yeah.
Yes. And excuse me, a couple of people are mentioning Preston Jacobs' videos. Yeah. When he says some of those weird theories, they get in my head. And I'm like, holy shit, maybe. And there's a lot of theories he has about this particular situation. If you haven't checked out his videos,
for the record, I definitely would have taken Nervous Purvis, and I wouldn't have had to.
I think you had to work that. Didn't you have to work that day or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at a concert. I was on acid. I had to work.
Hey, what are you talking?
There was something. I don't know.
There was some shit going on.
But no, I was really good back in the day. Not so much in a long time.
Joe is a phenom on the basketball court. Okay, so so ultimately Arya runs away from them, and Gendry. Then we start to get our Gendry and Arya arc build, and they have a really fun relationship that obviously has parallels to Robert and Lyanna and Robert and Ned's relationship, the Stark and the Baratheon hanging out and talk. It's really fun. It's one of the cornerstones of our series, and it's seeing them interact is something. I talk about this a lot. I haven't seen season 2 and 3 as much as I've seen some of the other seasons. So some of this stuff, like a Littlefinger scene we're going to get to later, is stuff I kind of forget about, and I don't know quite as well as I know some of the other stuff. So it's really fun to watch it again for almost the first time. And in this particular watch, I'm actually really liking Gendry, and I really liked him in his interactions with Arya in this episode.
I liked him a lot in season 1, and like the little bits we got from him. I really liked him in season 2. I was glad we got so much from him. I can't wait to see how much more we get from him.
Yeah, it feels like he's going to become a cornerstone of the series. Really, right,
Joe? He might be king, dude. He might be king.
I'm Team Gendry for king, right, Joe? Yeah, we're on
the Bull King. Come on, can't you see his house? His house, like the stag and the bull together.
Kaylana says, "Drinking, Joe?" Question mark. Vince says, "If Arya and Gendry marry each other, it will fulfill what King Robert always wanted. I have a son, you have a daughter, we'll join houses. Ned's daughter and Robert's son would marry."
That would be unbelievably, awesomely awesome. Are you kidding me? I never even thought that. Like, even when I was watching this, their age difference just seemed so great. And then, like, in future episodes, there's so much that happens that it never even... Awesome. I love that new thought.
You go. They're the next hot couple. Get them together.
That is awesome.
I think if Time Machine, zip, future. I think if we were to see him again, realistically, it's through her eyes. It's the only thing that would truly make sense for our story to really introduce him again, I think. I mean, I just think that would be the most fun. Some sort of interaction between the two of them.
What about like some sort of interaction between him and Dany?
That could be cool too. Or no, fuck that. I don't want Dany to go near him.
Especially what if another hand of the king goes and talks to him and questions him, Tyrion.
Oh, I can't wait till we get to Tyrion.
Or another future hand of the king gets to question him about stuff.
Ren says a happy ending, no fucking way. No fucking way. Okay, so two Gold Cloaks end up riding in on horseback. Gendry puts down the wood he was carrying, and Arya starts freaking out. Why are these Gold Cloaks here? And Arya attempts to hide under some of the wood hide behind Gendry's big pile of wood that he has going on there. And she's like, he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing with my wood? And the Gold Cloaks are here. They're looking for me. And we cut over to the Gold Cloaks, and I just love Yoren way the pimp walk too. He's like walking down the street, bum, you motherfucker, like I'm coming for you, bitch.
Dude, he's from the north. He's a badass fighter from the fucking north, from the wall. Like you want to talk about hard? Like the wall makes a man hard. If you're not you're from the north, whatever, go north to the wall. Please live at the wall, please, with the murderers, the rapists, the thieves, the fucking Jesus, the fucking Slints and the Trints that show up there. My God.
Vince says Gendry is now the last Baratheon in the show. Very good point. Alice. Oh no, wait. Tom and Baratheon, right?
Tom and what's her name? Mercilla? What's her name?
Dead, dude. But we're in the future now. She's dead. She's dead, dude.
No, the sister.
Yeah. Whatever. Well, I'm not gonna repeat spoilers over and over again. But yeah, no, she's fine, Joe. She's absolutely
right.
Anyway,
that was months ago, man.
It gets confusing. Kaylana says Gendry gives blood from sensitive regions. Phil, that just sounded wrong. Kaylana says Arya and Gendry married is better than the whack George R. R. Martin having a romance. If anyone hasn't read it, thank you for bringing that up, Kaylana. In a spoiler, perhaps not even a spoiler, in an early draft idea that George R. R. Martin had for Game of Thrones, it had a weird romance angle going on with Jon Snow and Arya, and that ultimately it was kind of based around them having brotherly, sisterly loving relationship. And
what's wrong with George Martin that he's got so much like incest in his shit?
And, Vince says the books say that Yoren smells like piss. And I do want to mention this Yoren and the Gold Cloaks thing. How they handle it on the show, and just quick comparison. The book, it's much bigger, longer process of playing cat and mouse a little bit with the Kingsguard after this situation.
Yes,
it's much more detailed, and
this is a long fucking journey they're on. Like when they're saying like so far away, like I kind of imagine them almost halfway to Winterfell by this point. It's been weeks.
Oh yes, and so into Jon Snow incest with Arya. If you haven't read this yet, you can easily find it if you Google. Or someone maybe can share the link if they have it, but if you Google George R. R. Martin original outline for Game of Thrones, be careful. There are some potential future possible spoilers in there, but
not that far, but
it's very vague. It's just it's very vague and etched out. There's some stuff crossed out, and some people on Reddit were like we're doing all CSI on it and trying to decipher what the crossed out stuff was. It was a whole big thing that was going on for a while. So it's pretty easy to find that stuff if you want to take a look at it. And some of the changes were ridiculous. Tyrion was much more of a warrior. It all ended with a big battle on the field between Joffrey. Joffrey was also more of a warrior. It was a lot of differences. I'm kind of fucking it up because I haven't read it in a while. It's an interesting read. And
that you're absolutely right, Sam. That is was it Sam? No, Vaughn. That is how they got down, and even in our history, people still get down that way, But still, it's just he likes to write about it and really just explore that area of people.
Yes, he does, Joe. He absolutely does. And he also absolutely has Wait, sorry about that. So that
Deft hand with diplomacy.
yes, he has a deft hand at diplomacy. Thank you. That was awful. Bad sound cue. The volume was turned down. That doesn't work. Had no idea he was on my copy.
Steve Buscemi. She just out of nowhere said Steve Buscemi.
Thank you for sharing that. Oh my goodness.
I love Steve Buscemi. He deserves to be in every chat, mentioned at least once.
Of course. Absolutely. I agree. Why does he show up? Oh, no, different subject. I was going to be like, why does he always show up in Adam Sandler movies? Like that's the one thing. Like, what does Sandler have on Buscemi? Does he have one of his kids kidnapped in his basement?
What does Buscemi have on Sandler? That's probably more.
Or something. If anyone hasn't already watched it and they're thinking about it, don't watch the Netflix Adam Sandler Western movie. It's not worth your time and will actually make you stupider by watching it. Now,
I've been very, very sadly disappointed with Sandler for a while now, but I still keep giving him a chance. There was something he just did which I thought was Pixels was good.
No, it wasn't. That sucked. Let's not get down into Sandler.
I liked it.
Well, it fucking sucked horribly. Okay, so
Yoren
took a. Oh, it's pathetic. So Yoren puts a knife to the guy's cock, and the guy starts to pull out the sword. He goes, "I asked you a question. You did, but without manners, and I chose not to answer." And he gives him a royal warrant for the gutter rats you're transporting. Well, the thing is, these gutter rats belong to the Night's Watch now. That puts
them kings or queens.
Yep, puts them beyond the reach of kings and queens. And yep, the funny thing, people worry so much about their throats, they forget what's down low. Now I sharpened the blade before breakfast. I could shave a spider's ass if I wanted to, or I could nick this artery in your leg. Once it's nicked,
oh, this is awesome.
No one here will know how to unnick it.
There's no one anywhere close enough that knows how to unnick it. I love the way he just says that. It's like, I just got to nick it. And ain't no one close enough to unnick that.
Ren says if you sever the femoral artery, you bleed out in 4 to 5
yeah, real quick. That shit's pumping.
And Sam's with you, Joe. She liked Pixels.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was cute. I mean, I had a completely open mind about the whole thing.
I don't want to talk.
There was problems, but it was still entertaining enough.
What would Yoren say about Pixels, Joe? He would say, fuck this shit up your top.
He would have stabbed fucking Qbert, that's for sure.
Okay, so instead of stabbing Qbert, Yoren says, well, takes his sword. He goes, I'll keep this sword.
He just threatens his little Qbert, that's it.
It's always needed at the wall. And seems you have a choice. You can die here at this crossroads a long way from home, or you can go back to your cities and tell your masters you didn't find who you're looking for. Motherfucker slams down the hammer as the Gold Cloaks just speak out loud now. We're looking for a boy named Gendry. And Arya looks really shocked. She's kind of almost upset. She's like, wait a minute. I thought you were after me. And he carries out the bull's helmet and he says, anyone who turns over him will earn a king's reward. We'll be back with more men.
Yeah. And
Yoren kind of smiles and looks at the group. And I mean, then we get into a big game of cat and mouse between the two of them. And in the books, it's again a lot more detailed here. But it's, Yoren wins this. He smiles. He kind of enjoyed that. He enjoyed the fight of it a little bit.
Everybody enjoyed that. Even the Gold Cloak got he was so pissed. He's ready for a fight now. He comes back with a freaking army, right?
Vince says Yoren was good. Yeah, he does. He comes back with like a lot of men. Vince says Yoren was going to go Ramsay on that Gold Cloak. Dean says Yoren proves one man in the north can fuck up 10 southern dudes. I love Arya's reaction to that. Oh, yes, I did.
Like, he just walked right up to it. You're going to really, from horseback with me standing right next to you, you think you're going to be able to draw your sword before I pull you off the horse or stab you like 4 times? It's ridiculous. Like you let this guy walk up to you like that. Your Gold Cloak sitting on your fucking horse. You're a dead man. You let someone get that close to you.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, yeah, that person might die too when you get trampled by the horse as he jerks on the reins, but still.
And it's worth asking or worth getting into that the Gold Cloaks, these Gold Cloaks were sent by Cersei or sent by Joffrey for Gendry after what we saw in the last episode. There is some speculation in some people of who exactly did send these guys. Is their claim legitimate of what they're looking for Gendry? Could they also be influenced or sent by Littlefinger? Could Littlefinger have something to do with?
No, it's definitely not Littlefinger. There's the one scene we have in that previous episode with Joffrey when Cersei smacks him and they're talking about how many people did you fuck and all the orphans and everything. And then we have a scene later in this episode. But it seemed clear to me, it seemed clear to Tyrion that it was definitely Cersei's orders, and it was Joffrey that brought it up to her, and she's kind of scared that maybe somebody might take Stannis's bullshit, and that's definitely how they set it up. That's definitely how I saw it. Like I was on in corner Tyrion at that moment, like that Cersei was having these motherfuckers killed to protect Joffrey.
Joe, what do you call a whorehouse entrance?
Home.
No, a hodor.
Dude,
yeah, I like it. Lady says I think it was Joffrey's purely. Also artery man along the arm of the bicep as well, says Kaylana. Sam says, and Joffrey's gold cloaks were not the brightest best in the batch, because Critch was saying the gold cloaks aren't used to deal with someone who's not squirming at their approach, because Vince was saying the gold cloaks were sent by Joffrey in the show, and someone was asking that they're surprised that the gold cloaks allowed him to like kind of step up towards them. And I think it's similar to what someone in the chat was saying, that I don't think the gold cloaks, because they're used to dealing with people in like the lower class and King's Landing that just kind of bow with them and do anything that they want, whereas someone getting in their face that they have no jurisdiction on, that has dealt with things that they couldn't even imagine, they're just not used to dealing with someone that's just that's
ready to talk back, ready to put a knife to his crotch, and they're alone. It's the two of them. Like they are used to their authority and pieces of paper like that being flashed, and people do what they say, like, because one guy's going to ride off, and in 30 seconds, 10 more fucking gold cloaks are going to be back, or white. Yeah, gold cloaks.
When we kill one, 10 more come in their place, Joe. They just keep popping up. It's like playing whack-a-mole.
Right, but 100 miles out of King's Landing? No. Nobody's showing up for a couple of days. They'll be able to march for a couple more days. It might be like a week before they see anybody.
So the gold cloaks ride off, and Gendry and Arya stand up. Great look by Arya. And I love how a lot of the television series, a big element of the television series, is seeing it through Arya's eyes and just watching her reactions, her eye roll.
That's amazing.
She's just so good. We talk about this a lot in future episodes, Joe, but I just need to stop for a second and say just how amazing Maisie Williams is as Arya, and seeing her growth. As all of the kids, I think, are good for the most part on the show. I think Bran is really good, especially in these early seasons. I mean, we don't see him later on. He just gets older, so it's not his fault.
He gets that awkward puberty thing starting to happen to him.
Right, but Arya just grows, or Maisie Williams just grows and fits her character at every stage so perfectly. And probably the best casting by Game of Thrones casting for almost anybody. I mean, there's so many characters you can say that about. Peter Dinklage,
Jamie,
Tywin, Jamie. I mean, I think what's awesome about Game of Thrones is for 9 times out of 10, they cast the right person for the right part, and they're casting people that are those people. So I think I'm repeating.
My only problem is Marjorie.
Marjorie, some could say that they do, even though Stephen Delane's great, some could say that the Stannis casting maybe was a little bit off. Some could say a couple
I don't see that being off. I think they fucked with the character a little, but no, I thought he was perfect. He is such a stone cold fuck in almost everything he's in. It's good to see him in this role. I think, well, not in everything he's in, but I think he does this really well.
Yeah, no, I hear you. He's one of the ones that's just, maybe it's my own personal biases of what I imagine Stannis to look like in my mind. So many of the other characters fit it like a glove, whereas Stannis, for some reason, I expected him to look a little bit different and have a little bit different of his tactics. I don't know. You could keep playing this game, but I think I agree with what Lady was saying, that about 9 times out of 10, about 80-90%, Sam, 80 to 90% right on the casting for the most part. I think when it's right, it's brilliant. Like,
see, I'm more like 99% perfect. I got one person that and it's only just a bias against.
I can think at least 3, Joe, without even breaking a sweat.
No, not me. I think they did a great job with everybody, really.
Yeah, I don't know. I got some sand on my snake down below my.
Okay.
I don't want to get into that too much, Joe. But
I yield. There's now 2. Sorry,
3.
Maybe that's more.
No, whatever.
Yeah, shit. That's all of them. You're right. No.
Yeah, that's 3, Joe.
There's 3 more.
I can think of 3. All right.
No. Now my count's up to 5, and actually one of those I can remove because it's more the writing and not the actress or the casting. So yeah. Okay, 4. I'm at 4.
We all have our issues.
I haven't watched season 5 a second time yet.
Yeah, we'll get.
At this point, I've watched, like, by the time season 2 came around, I've watched season 1 like 3 times. By the time season 3 came around, I had watched season 1 like 6 times and season 2 like 3 times. So like, and it continued like that, but I haven't rewatched season 5 at all yet. So,
and I also have to say, I think the actor that plays Stannis is great. I don't think does not do a good job. It's just, again, that's just personal of when I listen to the books or when I read it, I just imagine something else in my mind. And I think the actor does an excellent job, especially in the later half of it.
You also had that guy when the
book, yeah.
And he's doing these accents that don't correlate to what you end up seeing.
Exactly. So sometimes I forgive it, sometimes I don't. And that was the first thing, as you mentioned this before. I listened to that audiobook before I saw that particular season. So
see, with me, a lot of the times I know people get in, like, when they read, they get off on all these tiny details. Like me, like, anytime a feast was mentioned, I wanted to, like, I still read it, but I wanted to skip to the end of that paragraph because it was just 7 sentences about the food. And then like how people are dressed, yeah, that all plays into the story, but I'm more into the macro story, and I miss a lot of these subtle details when I read. And it's to my detriment, of course. So there's like you mentioned earlier, there was a mute with them on their way up. I completely forgot about the mute.
Yeah, well, when we get to the scene, I'll mention that. But okay, so let's get to my favorite part of any episode. Our good friend Tyrion Lannister at the Red Keep, whistling through the hallways as he opens the door. And to me, this starts. We talk about this a lot in some of the more recent episodes because we deal with them. But I really fucking love Varys and Tyrion when they're in scenes together. It is 2 of the best. And I know I was talking about Theon and Yara and Osha talking about the episode. They were their gushing level even rose crazy. Not talking about Tyrion, but talking about how Varys was their favorite character. They just loved Varys, loved the actor, said he's amazing. They were just gushing so much about him.
Yeah.
So, like Sam was saying, I love season 2 Tyrion. Once this starts my favorite so far Tyrion arc in the entire series of books or show, his run as Hand of the King, leading to how this all manifests.
It really showed, like, as a character, you get to see that he's witty. You get to see that he's intelligent, like smart and witty. But until or that he has knowledge too. But until you see season 2, you realize that Tyrion's not just knowledgeable and he's not just witty, but he's got wisdom behind this shit. Like, and lots of it. Like, he kind of lets a little bit of it out in a witty way with Jon Snow. And he kind of lets a little bit of it out, his wittiness and his able to, like, sell a used car when he's at the Vale and with the Moon people. And you get to see how smart he is when he sits down with his dad at the table and he tells everybody, get out of the room, You're going to be hanged.
And it's interesting.
This season, we get to see how wise he is in the decisions he's making,
100%,
and the things he goes about doing.
100%, Joe. And just to connect that tissue, it also shows character growth, because in that scene that you're talking about with Tywin, there is a moment where he says to Tywin, strategy is new for me, but I'm starting to pick up on it. We're starting to see some of those things starting to manifest itself into reality. That being said, show Tyrion is a lot more omnipresent of everything that's going around him than book is. Book Tyrion is a little bit more focused on his family and on Cersei and on everything. Right away, he underestimates at times Varys and Littlefinger, whereas right away Tyrion is really on Littlefinger, on Varys right here. Oh, get the fuck away from her! Get the fuck away from her! I don't want you around here. He's a big liar. You should worry about him.
Right. He uses his knowledge, like his secrets, for power. And if you talk to him, he'll figure shit out. He's very smart. And just with a 5-minute conversation, he'll be able to read you. You'll be able to let out information by simple things, saying things, body expression that he can pick up on really well. He's very cunning like that. Absolutely.
And Kaylana, yeah, I think some people are at different timestamps in the chat right now. Dean says, I agree with Phil that Tyrion's wisdom and charisma is the reason why Tywin sent him, to King's Landing. Charles Dance and Peter Dinklage were a pleasure to watch. Abso-fucking-lutely. Really awesome stuff. And I that's the one thing this season's missing. It's missing a little. I need some Tywin. Give me more Tywin. So we get the Shae and Varys scene, one of our best moments in this episode. The line, when Tyrion's just getting pissed off that Varys is in there and the bullshit going on between the two of them. So he just goes, you should taste their fish pie. And Shae's like, I don't think Lord Varys likes fish pie. And Varys says, how can you tell? I can always tell. And Tyrion, men like Lord Varys and I can't let our disadvantages get the best of us. We'll make a fisherman out of him yet.
Yeah.
I love that whole exchange back and forth with Tyrion and Shae. And this is one of the moments where Shae doesn't bother me. Just because she's just played down a little bit. And it is worth mentioning that she doesn't actually stay in the Hand of the King Tower. In the books, she stays at a whorehouse. And this interaction between Tyrion and Varys happens a little bit differently. And there is also the speculation, if you listen to some conspiracy theories or some things, that maybe Shae is an agent of Varys or has some relationship with Varys already. That I just want to put out any information I've heard about.
And that just kind of you kind of got to. I mean, that's like, oh, anybody that's in Westeros that's from Essos must know each other. You know, like any Russian here in Massachusetts in the 80s had to know each other. Now it's a little different. There's, many more, but it almost seemed that way at some points. Like all the Irish knew each other, all the Jews knew each other. Like if you're in Westeros and you're from Essos, word gets around that there's foreigners around or not, I would imagine. But that's also kind of weird to assume that they would know each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's found in a camp, in Tywin's camp. I mean, why wouldn't? And he's got people from King's Landing, so why? Of course, there's a good possibility that they already know each other.
Or I more think that she was somewhat of a plant, and I don't know, whatever. I don't want to get into too far of conspiracy theories for things yet to come. We'll talk about that as we get into the future with the things that Shae does. As Al was saying in the chat, I hate Shae for things yet to come. And I gotta say, I wasn't the biggest fan of her from the beginning, but at some points, I think her and Peter Dinklage the actor and actress have good chemistry. And I think she plays playful well, and kind of, she's really started to bother me more in her in season 4.
Whiny. Everything was just every time she was on scene, it was very, well, what about me? You don't do anything for me. Tell me, take me, do this for me. When Tyrion was nothing but straightforward the whole time. It really made it clear in the books, like, no, you can't be coming with me to court. You have to live in this whorehouse. And then that even gets like to an even more secret whorehouse. And like, it's just like he had to hide her for a long time. And like here, it's like, oh, I'll just hide you in my room. So basically he's like, oh, I'm just going to make you a prisoner here in the keep. Like, of course she's going to like go stir crazy and shit. And then like, I make you my, yeah, like
okay. So Varys says, I'm glad your new friend was able to accompany you to the capital. Friends are such an important part of life. Unfortunately, your father didn't want her to come, but rest easy, Lord. I'm very good at keeping secrets from my good friends. Tyrion, your discretion is legendary when your friends are concerned. And Varys goes, how unspeakable of me to go on and on. Or let's do Varys from the audio, but how unspeakable of me when all you want to do is rest. I'll leave. Welcome to King's Landing, my dear. The city makes brighter because of your presence. And Tyrion immediately views all of this as a threat Do you think Tyrion was being a little too hyper crazy? I don't like threats. I'm not threatening you. I'm not Ned Stark. I understand the way this game is played. Ned Stark was a man of honor, says Varys, and I'm not. Threaten me again, and I'll have you thrown into the sea like a mermaid.
See, I didn't catch any threats.
Neither did I. I didn't see anything veiled or otherwise that I think Varys was trying to be his friend.
I kind of feel like Varys went there for some reason and found Shay. Like Tyrion took it some other way. He wasn't being secretive. Nobody jumped up and like, oh my God, Tyrion's back. Like there was nothing like that going on. I didn't pick up on any threats. Like he said, dude, it's your secret. Okay, I'll keep your secret. Don't worry. Like, and then Tyrion was all of a sudden like, went badass on him. Like, yeah, right. You're not going to keep my secret. Fuck you. You threatened me like that. Like, what? Tyrion.
Why is Tyrion so dead set on not trusting Varys?
What he says afterwards makes a lot of sense, though.
Which is what?
I forget exactly how Tyrion puts it to Shay, but he says something right after Varys leaves. Doesn't he say something about like
Tyrion opens the door, he and Varys exit, Varys closes the door behind him, and no, basically that's the end of that scene. I think you're thinking of it in the last episode where he's talking about very good liars, some great liars. Maybe it's in a later episode.
Maybe it's later this episode. I don't know.
The Kaylana said the conspiracy was that maybe Tywin set her into the ranks. And okay, Alfie Allen says that people think I'm the villain. I don't think so. And they joke, and this is where they both joke to each other. Who knows what's going to happen? I haven't done anything villainous yet. And this is where they talk about Peter Dinklage, and they say that when Peter Dinklage was first in the main auditions for the show, and he was working with the dialect coach called him out on who he was basing his accent on, and said he was basing his accent on Eddie Izzard. And that is what apparently Alfie Allen's, that's from Alfie Allen's
I like Eddie Izzard. That
Peter Dinklage bases some part of the foundation of his Tyrion accent within Eddie Izzard. So there's
he had a short-lived series, The Riches. It was really good.
And I'm a big fan of Eddie Izzard. Very, very, very funny. So here we go in the small council, and I did not remember this, but I'm like writing notes of things I'm remembering from the books and looking at things. Cersei wasn't in this situation in the books because didn't Tyrion give her something to take a shit or to give her the shits or something like that? I'm playing, like, it's been so long, so some of this stuff is flashing back, and I'm reading stuff, listening to other stuff. So if I have this like faint memory of Cersei not actually being in this situation at the small council. It's
been 4 years since I read any of it, so all of my memories are like skewed and flawed and gone.
They are gone. They are gone up in smoke. So why are Krispy Kreme donuts trending right now? Okay, Shay was a bad face on soap opera acting because she was a poor actress. For your information, Shay has a Lorith accident, the place where Jaqen is from. Both are German. Yes, Tyrion had like given her food poisoning or something. Yeah, it was something like that, wasn't it? He'd given her food poisoning. Okay, so the small council table, and Alton Lannister's there. Cersei's reading Robb's letter out loud, or part of it. I have the whole letter. I'll read it later. From this time until the end of the time, we're no part of your realm. We're free and independent king of the North. And she rips up the letter. She is so
good at ripping paper, dude.
She perfected the art of ripping up paper. And Tyrion just like...
She did it to Ned Stark. She does it here. She did it to Tyrion.
He doesn't believe in this sort of shit. And give him his father's bones back at least. It's a gesture of good faith. You'll give the Starks a reply, cousin. Yes, I will. Did you see my brother when you were with the Starks? And Varys and Baelish kind of look at each other, and you just get this sort of when she's asking about Jaime, just because everyone's supposed to have the Stannis thing on their mind right now of just reading the letter that Stannis sent out. Yeah. So it's somewhat public knowledge.
And that letter went everywhere.
Everywhere.
Every lord in Westeros. It went to every, like, not just the lords. I think he probably sent it to, like, the community bulletin board like in town square to be posted by like the town schmuck. Like he tried to make this letter, and then like, you know, if a common folk or people that just don't like the Lannisters get a hold of this letter, they're going to copy it. They're going to do whatever they can to spread this thing around and talk about it. This is the talk of the kingdom.
And Kaylana says,
everybody knows now.
Kaylana said Shay broke her role and actually fell in love with Tyrion. I want to say that when we get to what's going to happen in the future, I agree with you, Kaylana. I think the way that the actress played that she was falling in love with him, but I don't think that's right to, when we get to the Shay thing, it doesn't quite balance in everything that we've seen. It doesn't make sense, some of the things that she would have done if she wasn't an agent the whole time. And that makes more sense. I don't know. We'll get into that as we travel further down that path.
Like she really pushes hard. If she's just she pushes hard to get into that castle.
Yeah, she does.
Into, you know, she stays quick. She goes with Bronn quick. She doesn't like. And
let's fast forward here for a second. Spoiler 1, 2, 3. And here we go. She gets in bed with Tywin pretty damn quick. Yep. When shit goes down, that happens pretty.
And Tywin knows about her immediately. You're not bringing that whore to court.
Exactly, he knows about her not bringing that whore to court, like it's a setup, so he can take away his power later and has that card in his pocket to fuck Tyrion later. And also, when Cersei points her out, finally, he doesn't look surprised. He gives that look like, "Yep, I know." That looks forward. Yep, I'm fucking her. I know who she is. Bless you, Joe.
And it's also worth it to say that in the story that he tells, you know, Shay back at camp about her dad and Jaime and everybody fucking his first wife, right? He tells that story.
Mm-hmm.
And Tywin is among the people that fucks that farm girl.
Farm girl 69, yep.
You know, so Tywin's got a thing for fucking Tyrion's women. Not just his whores, but the women that he may or may not be in love with.
Right, because he wants to decide. He's not a free being. You killed my wife. You're not a free being. I will use you as a bargaining chip to further my
love. I will take all of yours.
Oh, and not just that. I will take all of yours, but also I won't allow you to have love because I need to use you as a bargaining chip to marry our family with other families when it becomes advantageous to us.
And Tyrion is the only chip left. He's still got hopes, but Jaime's married off to the King's Guard.
Exactly.
Cersei's married off and with a dead husband. Like,
I still think as we get into it, I still think he has plans to, have his own agenda with Cersei. And you're still young enough to bear children. We'll get to that. And with Jaime, he probably whether it ends up being what he does to Jaime later, the manipulation he uses on Jaime, he knows at one point in time he'll have some play to Jaime to make Jaime leave his vows. He has some game afoot. The game is afoot for Tywin. The game is fucking afoot. Daddy asshole. Well, I like Tywin the actor. Really dislike him as a character, just as DB.
Yes.
And Ren says, Annie knows where whores go. Yes, he does. Where do whores go? So
they go through the Hodor.
So Cersei says, if you speak with him, tell him he's not forgotten. And Alton says, his spirit has not been broken. I will. Safe travels, cousin. And we get probably one of my favorite Tyrion lines up until this point in the series. You have a deft hand at diplomacy. It's just a great line of him. Here we go. Yep, deft-handed diplomacy. So is that everything? And a raven flew in this morning from Castle Black. Pycelle hands a letter to Tyrion, and Tyrion begins to unfold it and read it. And Varys jokes trouble with the wildlings, and Baelish, do their back and forth. That's why they're called wildlings. Dutch. Varys says, somewhat less wild these days. It seems they've stopped killing and they started following this king beyond the wall. And Cersei jokes, how many? That's another fucking king?
Yeah. Now what? 5?
Is there 5?
Soon to be 6.
We've lost count, Joe. There's so many kings. Like caps on fucking pencils. Oh, caps on pencils. On pens. Fuck this shit. Too many kings.
It is the 7 kingdoms, right?
Yeah, I guess we need a king for the kingdoms.
Shouldn't have killed your fucking husband, bitch. What were you thinking?
Oh, God.
Leave the kingdom in Joffrey's hands? What?
Yeah, I think, honestly, if we're going to go back to that, I think it was more that she was weighing alternatives, and the alternative to have Robert hunt her down and kill her because Ned tells Robert the truth. Balance that between thinking that, she could control Joffrey.
Kill Ned. She killed Jon. Kill Ned.
I mean, I think ultimately her fear for doing that was Robb Stark getting all the banners, and ultimately what ends up happening anyways.
Yes, but if Robert's alive, it's a different story.
Good point. I guess that's an interesting point. But then would he go? He would probably go crazy trying to figure out who killed Ned, and then you could kill Robert a different way by setting him up against somebody and get Robert out of the out there on the battlefield and away from you for a while for trying to kill everybody that killed Ned. Good question, Vince. We're gonna get to. That is big time in my notes. Where the fuck is Thorne? The old bear said last season he was going to send Alistair Thorne to King's Landing with the White's hand, but all we got is a fucking letter. Thorne is too busy torturing Snow. Still isn't he on the show? It's an interesting point, Lee. One of the things I love about rewatch is you pick up on how they mention characters way before they show them. Very, very good point. Very good. And I love how they do that as well. Foreshadowing the characters, like with Stannis. We heard about Stannis way before we saw him on the show. And I do agree with, to go back to the last question, and in this situation, we get them hearing about the hand got sent, but I remember very specifically in our recaps of this, because we didn't do this that long ago, Joe, that Thorne did say to Jon Snow, the old bear said to Jon Snow, you don't have to worry about Thorne. I sent him to King's Landing with the hand. And here they say that he sent a letter. Is this just a mistake in the show? Did Thorne say, fuck this, and turn around? Like, what exactly happened here? I don't think it's ever explained. Is this just a fuck up on the show's part, do you think?
Wow, I didn't even pick up on it.
Do we ever maybe we'll get a scene later where Thorne says,
I thought there is a scene where he shows up with a box with the hand in it, gives it to someone.
Not that I remember. I think that's in the book. He shows up and Tyrion doesn't trust him because Thorne and him have history from when Tyrion was at the Wall, and kind of makes fun of him a little bit about it, and almost is on the side of Cersei with joking about, we don't believe in these such things, where they place Tyrion in this situation like he's the only one that could possibly believe it. It's an interesting change to not bring Thorne in this. The old bear changed the way they march north. Thorne made... Oh, okay. Critch says the old bear changed when they decided to march north. He had Thorne stay. Okay. Thank you so much. Because I'm confused, because in the book, because Vince says, in the books, Thorne is at King's Landing. Okay, so that's where the confusing point is, that Thorne must have been left in charge, or he is left in charge of Castle Black when...
taking a boat, too.
Possibly. It is actually a pretty, probably an easier boat ride.
Yeah, you just go over to the end of the wall there to the East Watch and take a boat down to King's Landing. Take you a week instead of like 2 months. Vince says we don't see Thorne again until season 4. And Tyrion makes him wait forever before giving him audience because he knows he's a dickhead. Says Joe Van. Yeah, I remember that. That's fucking awesome. Okay, so we get Tyrion, Lord Commander, asks we send more men to the Wall. Perhaps he's forgotten we're fighting a war, says Cersei. We have no men to spare. Tyrion says cold winds are rising, the dead rise with them. And they joke, the Nords and the Pies of the North are superstitious people. And everyone but Tyrion stands up and leaves and starts kind of joking and making, laughing at this whole situation. Tyrion says, according to the Lord Commander, one of the dead men attacked him in his chambers. Mormont doesn't lie, which is a very... He doesn't, and Tyrion knows him and knows him not to be a man that would exaggerate these types of situations. And Cersei thinks this is hilarious. One trip to the Wall and you come back believing in grumpkins and snarks. The way she laughs at him is amazing too. It's really fun. The way she just like cat calls him like yeah. You almost get the feeling that if he didn't kill her mother,
she would like him or find him funny, as we get a later scene in the episode when they're talking. You're funny. You're a funny guy. You're very, very funny. You know, not as funny as your joke when you killed my mother. That was the funniest joke of all.
Look on fucking Tyrion's face. This scene is amazing. Like, this is where we really see for the first time just how much she hates Tyrion.
Right, and we haven't
suspect they don't like each other, or she doesn't like him at all, or has some sort of animosity. But at this point, when you hear her say this, when you see Tyrion's reaction to it, the look on his face, and how much it hurts him, and how much he wants to lash out at her, and you really feel the hatred she actually holds for Tyrion.
We're not quite to that scene yet, but I agree with you, Joe. That is one of the moments where you see that Peter Dinklage isn't just a normal actor. He has that extra gear that can play multiple emotions at once, and you just see the whole process of it going through, where he's processing what her saying. He still loves his sister in a way, and you see that a lot in these first couple episodes. It's something I forget, considering where he goes from here, that he's
got Stockholm syndrome. He was raised by someone that treated him like shit. Or he wasn't raised by. He had to live in the house, and you look up to your big brother or big sister, even when they do treat you like shit.
Exactly. Not to mention that he does love Jaime, and he knows Jaime loves her, so he tries to do the best for her in his way by being like, "Come on, Cersei, you're an idiot." Diplomacy.
Yeah, and Tywin has beat it into them that family, no matter what, family. I would have thrown you into the water, but hey. Your family.
So we cut from right here to very important information, as we talked about at the beginning of the show. We meet Ed, or I think we met Ed last week, and Ed says, then I said, if the gods wanted us to have dignity, he would make us fart when we died. And we go up to Craster's camp, and we see Sam in this scene. And this was one of the first moments on the series that I kind of like Sam. I love how Sam is smiling at every girl. Like he more than any of the other Night's Watch guys cannot deal with being in a room with all these girls. He is freaking out in a room in this close proximity to this many women. He is having sensory overload.
Yes, Vince, we not only fart, but shortly after we die, all that's left inside us emits from the body.
Isn't there a South Park episode where that happens, where everyone dies and they just constantly shit themselves? Like,
you shit yourself when you die. That's the thing that I'll tell you is, it doesn't matter if you have on clean underwear, because if you die, you're shitting yourself anyway.
Littlefinger. I was so glad that he was shaking up and begging for mercy. Oh, yeah, we have awesome hatred for Thorne going in the chat room right now. Ren says, I would have poured all my knowledge and love into Tyrion to make her death worth the cost. Oh my goodness. Littlefinger, wormhole travel. Littlefinger is a wormhole alien? What? No, sorry. So Sam, what am I talking about? The Bajoran people pray to Littlefinger. So Ed says, yeah, if the gods want us to have dignity, we wouldn't fart when we die. Gren says, we fart when we die? Yeah. So Ed starts making fart noises, and this is when we really start to get...
Oh, I love watching women walk away.
Well, I like when they walk towards me better. They just have a really fun conversation of guys talking.
A bunch of guys, a bunch of girls around.
You got to just feel good for Sam here, just because you can tell he's never had this before. And everything that's happening for Sam right now, again, it becomes a lot more evident what Jon Snow does for Sam in the books than it is on the show, that Jon really made sure Sam found a place with everything. It happens on the show as well, but really Sam has found his place, and not necessarily the Night's Watch. I just mean with these people. These are his family.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for Sam.
Vapors,
death.
Murderer, rape, a thief.
Oh, come on. Give Gren and Ed a break. Okay, so
everywhere.
So ultimately they're like, Sam, go over there. We need you to go get some more sludge, buddy. Go over there. As Sam finds out that Gren had sex, and he wants to know how many times did he do it. And Gren's like, I did it as much as I could. Spoken like every man in the world when he's a young man trying to have sex for the first couple of times. How many times did you try to do it? As much as she'd let me.
Yep.
I'm the gas, she's the brakes.
You see the look on his face too, right after he says that. He turns around and looks at the girl. Oh, she lets him. Oh,
Craster.
Let me.
Oh, here we go. Craster pickup line number 2. You're beautiful enough to be one of my daughters. Love it, Vince. Great one. Good pickup. Pickup line number 2.
Also one of the Frey lines.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I don't even want to see where my mind was going with that. I was thinking, if it came out of you, I'm gonna get you too, or something like that. If it comes out of you, I'm gonna get her too. Craster, pickup line number 3. Fucking gross, fucking bastard. I don't enjoy. DB says I don't enjoy Sam very much, particularly in later seasons. I know Joe probably feels the opposite. He doesn't like Sam in these early seasons, right?
No. Here's the thing. I love Sam in the books. I don't think they do him enough justice in the early seasons. I really enjoy.
That's what I'm saying. I was saying that you don't like Sam as much. You don't feel like he gets enough. They make him. Do you think they make him craven? You think
the actor and the producers, the director, whatever, they get his personality and everything about him just right. They just take away a couple of key moments in his story that show his development as a character, as a man of the black. There's a few things they take away that we'll see later this season that we'll talk about, but that I just kind of was like, oh man, this was important for him. This was something that will make him made him better in my eyes as far as a character was in the books, and they kind of just took that away from him. So I remember you kind of saying that you didn't like Sam at all.
No, I didn't. When my first time through the series, I was not
you right. And if these few things happen,
I like him much better in this watch through. Sorry, I spilled some liquid. That's why I'm cleaning up. Keep going, Joe.
There's a few things that happen that would have maybe changed your mind by the end of the season about how it, much sooner than it did. Instead of in season 5, may have happened in season 2 for you, and for a lot of people out there, they took those moments away. So they kind of nerfed him and his character. And there's such small moments and quick moments that there was no need to take them away.
No, I hear what you're saying. It's kind of like similar to minorly taking away direwolves in certain situations because they just don't want to pay attention to doing it. They're like, we can spend time on other things.
But here's the thing: what they took away from Sam, they gave him something completely different, which kind of made him more of a little fucking shit, to a lot of people. I don't want to talk about that scene yet, but there's a scene that happens that instead of what was supposed to happen, that ultimately really changes that character. And we get one of those scenes in this episode too.
So, excuse me, we will get to this.
Sam, but with someone else.
So Sam continued.
2 other people. Oh.
Critch says Sam is well drawn in the books, and the show his physical ineptness covers a lot of the books. I hope Ollie becomes wolf poop. Sam has crusty underwear from jizzing his pants every minute, says Kaylana.
No. They're not wearing underpants under those robes. That's too hard. You just want to get your junk out there quick to piss and shit.
And Lady agrees with you, Joe. Completely agree. Book Sam is great in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I hear what you're saying, and it's probably why on this watch through I find myself finding Sam so much more charming, because I know where it comes. So I'm adding more to it from things I know in the future. So I'm using it all as understanding who Sam is, where I feel like maybe that could have. The first time I watched, I'm just like, oh gosh, here's Jon's comic sidekick. Dun, 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 dun.
And see, I had read the book too before seeing season 2, so everything but I had already seen him in season 1. So, but I thought they did a great job with the casting. I thought he does a great job playing the role.
It's his first acting job too. He came right out of acting school.
Good job for him. Like this is on the directors and the writers and the screenplay writers. This is not on him, and it's not on.
Yeah, it's on the director, and it's on what stuff they chose to get into the show. It's nothing about the.
It's not just what they chose to get in the show. It's that they put something brand new in the show and took away.
Yeah, and we'll get into that as
what should have been there instead.
Joe slamming down on his microphone, banging everything everywhere.
My desk. My microphone's just sitting on the desk. Yeah, I gotta get one of those hangy things like you, so I can pound the desk and it not let.
It has its problems too, Joe. So as Sam continues to walk, we hear a dog bark, some dogs bark, and then we hear a woman screaming as Sam turns around to see our first real introduction to our favorite female character in the entire show, right? Your favorite? No. Gilly. Now, Gilly's backed up against a fence post. Ghost stands in front of her I just love seeing the direwolves. It does look a little CGE.
It looks small. I gotta say,
you thought Ghost looked small.
I thought Ghost looked small. I thought it looked like a regular sized wolf, maybe a little meatier, but still not much taller, not much longer than a gray wolf you might find. They get pretty fucking big, gray wolves. They're not a small animal.
Jenny. Hey, Jenny. Ollie has a few issues. Yes, he does. Vince says Sam is perhaps the most modern character. He has the modern man sensibilities. You can't steal her. You can't steal her. She's a person. I love that line. You can't steal her, Jon. She's a person. I love the balance. We're gonna get to this in 1 second. I love Sam and Jon, especially early Jon, who is so inflexible in his grumpiness, and especially in this episode. This is a very grumpy Jon Snow episode in his interactions with Sam. And I get why he's being like that, but it's really cool to watch the balance between them and how, again, it's character progression, and you got to give credit to Kit Harington, the actor, and the show for portraying it this way to really show how Sam got to Jon. How it's just he kept poking at him. It's like, come on, buddy, come on, buddy.
Jon, in spite of anything else, Jon has a huge heart. Jon is
not a good sense of humor, though. A good heart.
Well, he's a Stark, and that's the thing. Like he has a Stark personality, but he also is able to find the humor in things. And no, Sam has a big part of opening up Jon and getting at Jon and making Jon feel a little bit more about.
Oh, you'd like it if Sam opened up Jon, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You would. Phil, how dare you? Oh my gosh, I'm
absolutely squee. Absolutely. Sam is scared. He's not a coward. Eugene is a complete coward. Sam's
not a coward at all.
No. Sam is just scared. He doesn't know he can do.
Sam's a perpetuating self-hate because of having an abusive father that didn't understand that his son was a genius, not a warrior.
Correct.
When it really comes
foster Sam the proper way.
Right. If he had been smart enough, or if he had understood that I should send Sam to be a maester or do something else or be a learned man, and because that's his talent, instead of looking at it as a weakness because he was such a great warrior, is really why Sam has the complex of thinking that everything he does is stupid. And that's why I want to, what we were talking about earlier, with how Jon Snow really did save Sam by giving him things to do, introducing him to Aemon and pushing him working with Aemon so that he's in a position where he can flex that muscle and be useful. And the old bear knew it too. He's not a coward. You may be a coward, but you're not an idiot, Tarly. So he knew he had use for them.
Everybody's got something that they can contribute. You need to be able to find that and foster that. And you could have made Sam a fighter if you had done it right. If you had showed him the strategy and the learningness, if you went about it a different way than just throwing a sword in his hand and having someone hit him with it over and over again. That isn't how you teach necessarily someone how to fight. That's how you teach someone how to get beat up. There's a big difference.
Good point. And I also have to say that right away, Sam understands, and whether it's within Ghost, and you could say that Ghost has some part of Jon connected to him, so he automatically respects or looks at Sam as part of his pack. But he knows how he's not afraid of Ghost. He doesn't have any fear of Ghost.
He's been living with Ghost for a while too.
Right, and I'm saying a Ghost actually listens to him. I don't know if any of the other Night's Watch guys tried that. Ghost would have been as understanding.
Because here's the thing, like, he knows Ghost because he's good friends with Jon. Like, hey,
that's what I'm saying. Ghost,
you have a pit bull. I'm not afraid of your pit bull because your pit bull's a sweetheart. But when people see you walking down the street with a pit bull, they might be inclined to shout things at you from your bike because
exactly. But they might yell things like "You're a bad person, you idiot, you moron, you moron, you moron, you moron."
Right, because they don't understand that it's nurture, not nature. Most of 99.9% of the time, and the same thing is with this wolf. And you know, as far as nature goes too, there's they could smell that fear and testosterone and hormones and pheromones and all that shit. When you're scared and in front of a dog, they read that on you. They smell it on you, they read it on you, and they got to think, why is this person nervous or scared? And they start to get nervous or scared, and it perpetuates you both, and then something happens. And Sam is comfortable with the dog, with the wolf. Excuse me.
No, it's fine.
It is able to, you know,
canid form.
He's not barking at it. He's telling it, you know, hey, knock it off, Ghost.
Yeah, leave her alone. Leave her. And Gilly's holding some meat. He's like, go get some food somewhere else.
Right. That's not yours, Ghost.
Yeah.
Down boy.
A couple of people are asking in the chat room if we think we're going to see more dragons and direwolves in season 6. I will definitely see more dragons. As for the direwolves, I don't see how we cannot get more direwolves if Bran is back. We're at least going to see them around him. They can't just shoot around Summer hanging out in the same place that he is. And we've got to eventually, and I think we've heard, or it's almost been mildly confirmed. I got to find the links, or it didn't happen. I want to say someone in production said we will see Nymeria again at some point, and everyone or book readers know that Nymeria is leading a pack of, like a super pack of wolves somewhere in the area
of regular wolves, not of dire wolves, but of regular wolves.
I just mean it's a giant pack.
It is like this dire wolf has gotten together all the like wolves in Westeros have like
has organized. It's king in the north, Joe. It's the king,
and it's not in the north. It's not in the north. It's
King of the River, yeah. We're going to be in a similar area, so I would not be surprised if Chekhov's direwolf show up sometime. Like, they are going to show up at the opportune time. It's going to happen. Or maybe Bran's going to connect to Nymeria and use that pack to his advantage somehow, or to Stark advantage somehow in a big battle. I honestly, right now we're playing. This isn't any spoiler. This is all fucking speculation. So that's where it's such a fun point in Game of Thrones, where we can just throw out this shit. We don't have to worry about anything. And I think somehow that's how it will connect back. Bran will touch base with Nymeria, and we'll connect that way. Oh my God, I'm so fucking excited. Oh yeah, and ladies, I just got so excited. Yeah, me too. Holy motherfucking shit. Can we just stop this and talk about season 6 now? Okay, no, let's continue. So, you notice I'm like, yep. Season 6 stuff. Oh, you want me to talk about that? I'll talk about that now. So it's coming. It's fucking coming. So Sam, we get Sam and Gilly, and Gilly's like, you shouldn't touch me. And Sam's like, all right, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure you were hurt.
Craster will smell you on me. And
they both get the lightning bolt. And I think both actors play it well too. The eye connection. They both like each other. Or does Gilly look at him as a mark? Do you think?
I gotta say, I think she kind of looks at him like a mark. She hasn't tried to talk to absolutely any other Black Knight person that we see, and we see him, particularly Sam, in the first few scenes he's around here, just he can't take his eyes off of any of these girls. And then there's her in particular who's pregnant, and she's kind of, it's very, I think she sees him looking and ogling and drooling, and I think when she realizes that he's who he is or how he is, she picks him up as a mark.
Right, that sees him as you're different than the others. You have a warmth, so I'm going to use that to my advantage, or see if I can use you to my advantage.
You don't strike me as a raper.
So Gilly says you're brave, and I just wanted to make sure you were hurt. You weren't hurt. So they walk over to Jon, and
hey, Ghost is a sweetheart. You should see the way we cuddle on the couch.
And so we will go over to Jon, who is clean. Is he cleaning or was he sharpening the Valyrian? He had to been cleaning, right? Because you don't sharpen Valyrian swords, right?
You don't need to. No, you don't sharpen those.
So he was cleaning it, right? Like he couldn't have been sharpening it.
He was polishing.
Oh, right, polish, no sharpen, right?
He was polishing his pummel.
Oh, I love the speculations going on in the chat room right now. Nymeria kills Walder Frey. I'm calling it here. Excuse me. So I love Jon Snow in the scene so much, and I can't say enough awesome stuff about the way Kit Harington plays this. And it almost comes off, this whole interaction between Sam and Jon, of comedic duo team, Carney and Gleason and Carney type stuff here, where Sam's just playing the Art Carney normal. Oh, wealthy boy. Oh, we gotta kick her. We gotta help this girl. And Jon's just like, Norton, you fucking idiot. You're an idiot, Norton. They just go kind of back and forth like that with it. It's really, hey, Jon, this is Gilly. She's one of Craster's daughter. And Jon's very polite.
Are you talking to her?
Yeah. Hello, Gilly. What are you doing, Sam? And this switch, like, what are you doing? Sam said you could help. I'm sorry. Sam knows we're not supposed to. She's pregnant. What? He's just like, what? I know this sounds mad. No, it doesn't sound mad. It sounds impossible. We have to take her with us. What? Sam, we can't take her with us. Please, sir. I have to run. And Jon goes,
okay. I don't understand. Sam, she's pregnant. Like, she's like, for all we've seen, like, all of these women are his daughters. You got to take this one with you. What if it's a boy? What if it's a girl? What if it's like you need to take the baby boy or on your way back? Really, we got to take her with us on our way back. Just makes no sense. Sam, where's your fucking head for all your smarts? Like, where, like,
Norton, you're a fucking moron, Norton. Oh, Ruffy boy, we're gonna take her with us, and she's gonna come. I got a baby boy, Ruffy boy. You fucking idiot, Sam. Come on, dude. And I just love how Jon and again, this is what I love about Game of Thrones so much. He calls him out on it. He's just like, you're an idiot. But Sam's innocence is just frustrating. It's one of those things that you just can't cope with because he's just so, like with this line. So, Sam, we can't take her. Please, sir, we can't take her. And she goes, I'm having a baby boy. If it's a baby boy. And then Jon becomes interested. If it's a baby boy, what? You want us to risk our lives for you and you won't even tell us why. Does she? And she gives a look. Did she think that they knew? She wasn't prepared for them to ask those kind of questions? I don't know. She just gets freaked out and she runs away. I know, again, in the book, she does actually tell him. He doesn't see it like he sees it at the end of the episode. She actually tells Jon what happens. But
this, she should have said, they're giving up the other baby boy that was born today. She should have told him about what was going to go down tonight.
Yeah, I agree too. And I think, and again, I want to say in the book she does. LaDonna, welcome. And welcome our friend. And what is your comment? I want Arya and Nymeria to hunt Ramsay down, flipping the Ramsay dog hunt. She flayed him too, and the dog eats his skin. Ha ha! I think everybody in the chat, I can speak for most of the people in the chat right now and say we would all love to fucking see that. So then we get a fucking amazing scene with Sam and Jon. Why did you do that, Jon? Do what, you fucking moron? You were cruel. Cruel? Sam, are you in a hurry to lose a hand? I didn't touch her. No, you just want to steal her. What do you think Craster would do for that? And we get Sam's amazing line that I just love it so much. That we can't steal her. How can we steal her? She's a person. You can't steal a person.
Oh no.
No, you can't. How can you steal her?
Right, and that's just it. We got to take her with us. Why? She can just follow on her own.
And she mentions that too. I kind of I skipped over that a little bit, but she mentions that
I can just leave. You can't stop.
Yeah, I can just leave. Tell me if you're not going to help me.
Right. So just leave on the heels or in front of the pack of fucking crows. Make Craster come and drag you back in front of all the fucking crows and just save prisoner girl.
It's just a stupid plan, and it just sounds...
I know it sounds a bit mad. No, it doesn't sound a bit mad. It's impossible.
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
Inconceivable.
You should have said that. You should have thrown an inconceivable in there. Holy motherfucking shit. LaDonna says, that Sam John Gilly scene is a clear foreshadowing of Sam bringing forth some children, Sansa's pups she dreams of. Dean McKinley, she's a person, not a goat. Yeah, I forgot that she's a person, not a goat. I can't stand it. She's a person, not a goat, John. And John just gives him that. What the fuck? We've all had those people in our lives that you face them with like pure logic and they just say the most ridiculous thing back to you.
But that's so true.
That's so true. Exactly, Joe. That is so true at core that you can't disagree with them and they're like, you're not wrong, Walter, but you're an asshole.
Shut the fuck up, Johnny.
Yeah, shut the fuck up, Sam. So John says we're heading deeper into wildling territory. We can't take a girl with us. Mormont wouldn't have, and even if we could, what would we do with her? You? Who's going to deliver the baby? You? And he like basically yelling at him. And Sam goes, well, I could try. John just looks so annoyed. And as Sam goes, what? I've read about it a bit. And John goes, I'm sorry, Sam, we can't help her. And just thinks dumbass. And he sits down and he goes back to doing whatever he was doing with his sword.
Unbelievable.
In fucking conceivable. And LaDonna says, Sam, wizard in the making. You're a wizard, Tarly.
Yeah.
Fucking Tarly. Holy shit. Okay, so let's continue on as we go to Essos. Is it Essos or Essos?
Essos.
Essos with the soft E. Essos. Okay, so we go to the desert. The desert pans across Daenerys' people, many of whom have looked tired and weak. We see Jorah and Daenerys sit near each other. After a few moments, Jorah lingers and he takes a sip of some of his water, and then he sighs because you can tell he's not drinking as much as he would want. And then we can see a horse approaching through the sun.
A riderless horse.
A riderless horse. And Jorah goes up and looks, and he ultimately finds a head in a bag, and he says, Khaleesi, don't look at this. Daenerys looks up at the horse. Jorah gets up. The horse is covered in red paint. He walks over to it. A soaking wet sack is attached to it. Some hair.
Red paint or blood?
Blood. Or it looks like red paint. Some hair could be seen poking out of the top. Flies could be heard. Jorah feels the hair, and Daenerys gets up from where she's sitting to approach the horse.
And then Jorah pulls out the ponytail too.
The ponytail, revealing that's a human head, and then puts it back in the sack. Jorah picks up the ponytail of the head, which has been cut off. Jorah says, you don't need to see this. Daenerys goes, he's my blood of my blood. And I like, this is the Daenerys I like. I like when she's faced off stuff and her go-to is to be like, all these people are going to die. I love that is her go-to.
Yeah, some thread is you're dying in the sun. This is one of the riders you sent out to go find a place of haven, an oasis somewhere in the middle of this red waste.
Joe Madden says, soaking wet sack? Question mark.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, this was more like big talk from a girl who has a bunch of like half dead slaves poking through the desert. Like she's half dead. Jorah, they're all half dead at this point, really.
Yeah, they will like it far less when I'm done with them. So Eerie, I think her name is, starts freaking out. They killed his soul, and Daenerys says they can't kill his soul. They did. They butchered him like an animal. They didn't burn his body, which is the Dothraki custom, and he can never join
his ponytail.
Right, he can never join his ancestors in the Night's Land. Mad disrespect. Daenerys says, no, we will build a funeral pyre, and Daenerys addresses Eerie again, holding her head, and I promise you, and she, really intensely, she says, I promise you, he will ride with his ancestors tonight, as he comforts her, and she cries really loudly, really fucking loudly. And it is worth mentioning that one of this Blood Rider, I believe, again, is alive in the books. He's off riding through the Red Waste. I want to say there's something to do with he finds like dragon bones or some shit. God, it's been so long since
I think only one comes back. I thought the rest came back dead.
I know this one's still alive though, and I think again, slight changes. We don't want to dwell too much on it, but
I remember the books was they all died, but one came back. This one came back. The other one they assumed dead, and then this one.
And were there any of these Blood Riders real brothers of Khal Drogo, asks E. Martinez. No, I just think there are other Khals in the power struggle after he is gone, where he was the most powerful Khalasar. But that's one of the things I feel like the show didn't do that well, specifically where you see Khal Drogo's horde invading that area.
They don't make it seem big enough.
They don't make it seem big enough. And they don't make it seem like there's lots of other groups of Khals around.
Like by the time he dies, they're up to like 80,000 or something, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, and that's just the biggest group. There's many other groups of smaller groups around.
Yeah, there's like groups of 20,000 or 10,000.
And in the place where he ends up getting cut in the series, when they're there in the books, there's like 3 or 4 other also hoarding Khalasars that are there, but trying to split up everything. So that's one of the things that causes conflict and stuff. And build a fire. Red asks, build a fire with what? They're in a fucking desert. Sand is burnable, right? LOL. Oh gosh, and thank you so much for. I'm not taking a look at the image right now, but I look forward to seeing it in a second. DB posted something in our Google Plus group that we have, our community group, that if you haven't already joined, please join. You can find the link to it in the description box below or in the chat live. Lady Squee posted that in the room, so check that out. And please join the group. We have a lot of fun in there day to day with all of our fun friends posting awesome Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, and some of our other shows, pictures and thoughts, and just helping us get through the crazy weeks. So it's some fun stuff. If you haven't already joined, up in that group. So anyways, so Danny, that scene cuts off with Eerie just crying really, 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 really loud. So I wrote as we cut to the Iron Islands, which is really the centerpiece.
What a great scene.
It really is a great scene. And the mix of locations this season, just in general, was really awesome. To go from the desert right to Pyke, it was just a really fun transition and seeing Theon so happy on the boat and him glowing and
the ship's the captain's daughter.
Oh, it's so great. Ooh. And yeah, the captain's virgin daughter.
Oh yeah, she's been had by many a sailor.
And this was a fun scene to listen to,
and probably by Dad many a time.
This is a fun scene to listen to Alfie Allen talk about watching himself. He's just like, oh yes. When he's like throwing the woman around, he's like, yes, that's how I am in my normal life. Alfie Allen's actually a very funny person that doesn't take his acting himself very seriously. He's very self-deprecating on his performance. He's like, I just suck. Oh, I'm awful. And it's almost slightly endearing, but it distracts from watching the episode. So I kind of kept turning off the DVD commentary. But he was funny. He was really funny in this particular scene. And of course he's got a whore, and it cuts to him on the ship looking, and Theon's talking but having sex with this girl, or everything looks bigger when you're a child, she says. I remember my father's cabin felt like a palace when I was little. But the way she says it, I think this was really good casting of the whore too. She was really funny in this little role. She plays, oh my God, stupid really well. And
yeah, she played that really well. Oh, make me your captor. Take me with you. Make me your salt wife. I'll be your second, third wife.
Welcome, Jon
Tingley.
Tingley.
This goddamn fucking boat.
Welcome. We've got our good friend Jon Tingley tuning in. Hope all is well, Phil, from ECCB Productions. Someone, if you can check out a trailer on his channel, I did a voice for him for an upcoming cartoon thing, and I might work with him again in the future. He does some really funny stuff, so if you can take a look at that, I will put a link to that video in the description below of this video. Check out his stuff. Very funny stuff. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast, buddy. Thank you. Oh, sorry about that. So Theon, she's basically like, will you make me a salt wife? And Theon's like, no, bitch, turn around. And he just starts begging her from behind. And try smiling with your lips closed. He's just so bad. Like, that reminds me of the Bill Murray, Kingpin, when he goes, hey, you. No, not you. You. Yeah, it's just such slime baggery. And they talk about this in the commentary, and it's worth mentioning. I just love the character of Theon, especially watching it now, knowing everything that's to come. It's just really funny thinking about Do you feel bad for Theon? Like everything even that happens to him in this episode, do you feel bad for what happens to him? But he's such a pompous dick that it's so hard to feel bad for him. Right. First time I watched, I didn't. I was like, fuck this guy. But if you think about everything that happens to him coming up here, what his sister does to him, what his father does to him, how they welcome he thinks he's going to get, and the way they demean him and everything like that. But it's the self-loathing built in him. He had to know somewhere he shouldn't have walked in there wearing the clothes he was wearing. Like, doesn't he know anything about his own?
He didn't know. He's been, even his dad says it. When he finally gets up there, his dad says it. He says, 9 years. They've had you for 9 years. They had you longer than I had you. So He's only like 17, right? So he was 8 when he left. Like all these kind of little things that, you learn, but by the time you're 8, like they don't mean anything unless they keep getting backed up until you're 17, so like they're kind of distant memories to him, and he's been having like Stark shit beaten to his head, and going to Stark school and learning from Stark nannies and all this shit, and it's no, he has no clue.
Vaughn says Theon was a jerk but didn't deserve all of that. Sam says,
Are you kidding me?
Let me finish. Hold on, Joe. Theon is first and the only time I feel bad for Theon. He's welcome to the Iron Islands, and he's welcome with his sister. Theon was a shit-face, but he didn't deserve it all completely. I have so much faith in Theon, says E. Martinez. Joe, how do you feel about all that?
Are you kidding me? Okay, he betrays Robb Stark.
Wait, okay, yes, he was so nice to Stark in the last episode, too.
For his daddy, though, okay, but he still betrays Robb Stark. Not only that, he kills the 2 Miller boys. He kills a bunch of people at Winterfell.
Maybe his sons.
Yeah, he absolutely deserved what has happened to him.
LaDonna Louise says, yeah, I sincerely doubt the Starks ever told them little about the Ironborns except history. Can't see Ned going on and on about Balon.
Right, or how you need to go rape and pillage the countryside for your gold trinkets because your dad would be upset if you bought them with the gold coins you earned from, your allowance or plowing farms or some bullshit or whatever, however you decided to.
Winter is coming, but Theon isn't. I like that. Sam says, I agree with you, Joe, and so does DB. Joe, I'm with you. Al Red Sox, Theon is a dick.
A lot of bad shit. Like he had his Johnson removed. Certainly you would feel bad for Varys, who had his shit fucking cut off a lot sooner than you would feel bad for fucking Theon.
Yeah, but if we're going all over the place with spoilers tonight, so if you haven't watched Future, fuck it. We're open Pandora's box. We open Pandora's box tonight. But if like with Theon, ultimately ultimately he is a victim of his own. The difference between him and Varys is Varys didn't have a lot of control over it. Theon was a victim of his own devices. He did the things that caused his dick to be cut off. He wasn't just kidnapped and his dick was cut off in some sort of spell like ritual towards a weird god. Like Theon actually he might not have done the cutting himself, but he
caused every bad
caused everything is his
especially like even when you're in the book, like the character that does these things to him, he has done bad shit or treated like absolute dog shit before, like their story is deeper in the book, right? So like even in Ramsay's point of view, most of the shit that Ramsay does to him is probably, right to do. And then Ramsay's a child of the North, his liege lord was Stark. His family is a bannerman to Stark. So when Theon does this shit that he does, and even the killing of the Miller's boys and taking of Winterfell, that's an attack by an Iron Island fucking cocksucker on the North again. So there's even more of a reason that makes it right for Ramsay to kind of do the shit that he did to him. You can't just take it that Ramsay's a psychotic fuck. Like there's a lot of hatred in between the North and the Iron Islands.
By the way,
they've been raiding up and down the coast for centuries.
Joe, by the way,
murderers and thieves.
Next time on Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, the Theon edition. Thank you, Dean McKinley. Fucking amazing. Vince says, how can people not understand Theon's conflict of identity? 9 years with one family, 9 with another. Of course he's going to feel conflicted, and ultimately most people would choose blood. I also think that Balon is a master manipulator, or definitely knows how to manipulate his son, and he pushed him a bit too far. He knew he got him to do what he wanted, and then he just kept pushing. There was a certain point where he could have pulled back and given his son a little bit of credit, a little bit more responsibility, and not made him feel like he needed to prove himself constantly.
Well, Theon went in there like a fucking peacock.
No, I'm talking about later on, but yeah, in this situation, I'm talking about after he got baptized and all of that. Okay. Like after he kind of submitted everything, and his father on the show anyways gives him a shit ship and gives him a shit assignment. He could have put him as a part of Yara's fleet or something like that. He could have given him something a little bit more of honor for betraying Robb Stark and siding with his family. Instead, he kept shitting on him like, you're still not one of us. You're still a fucking nobody, and you're still this. And he went a little too far after already manipulating. He couldn't let it go because of always feeling castrated that he couldn't beat everybody else of what happened. But one thing that is interesting, when he gets into blaming the Starks, the Starks weren't the only people that killed his kids. Everybody killed his fucking kids. Everyone was against them. It wasn't just the Starks. Why isn't he pissed off? The Lannisters were in that fight too. So were the Baratheons.
And the thing is it was part of the reason to keep Theon with Ned Stark was not just instead of like with Robert or with someone else in the South. It was to keep him close enough anyway that he could be visited by Balon or family members. You know, it wasn't to necessarily keep him away from them. They're not that far away from the... Oh, yeah, they are. The Iron Islands are kind of really close to Lannisport. They're much, much further south.
Yeah, so...
South of the fray,
So Theon sealed his fate the moment he burned the letter he was going to save Rob. DB says, I hate how the show downplays the importance of the Greyjoys. They're supposed to be coming back this season, correct? Yes, they are absolutely coming back, or it seems that way. Sam says, he even admitted to Ramsay that he screwed up by turning turncoat when he tells Ramsay that his real father lost his head in King's Landing. And I think ultimately in his darkest moments, he does think he made a mistake that betraying Robb Stark. He probably thinks that was a complete mistake on all points. So ultimately, we kind of just already talked about all this. He fucks the girl, gets off the boat, and we cut from... this is cut in a couple parts. So we get the whole Theon and this woman having sex. Funny, father will punish me after you leave.
They'll call me a whore.
They'll call me a whore. I haven't paid for you, as he flips her over.
Yeah, you're not a whore. You're a slut, baby.
As we cut from this sex scene to another sex scene to the prostitute Men in Black scene, where we see a prostitute we're at Littlefinger's brothel and we see someone fucking somebody. Then we see through a pee hole that someone's getting blown while they're watching the person get fucked and watching everything from a distance
from another people.
It's like a Russian doll situation here going.
Or is he watching through another peephole as as someone storms out? Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of peepholing going on in this moment. And
that's awesome though. Like your fetish is while you're fucking, you want to voyeur someone else fucking. Like go to Peter Baelish's whorehouse of happy.
Of happy endings. Like at what point did Baelish buy this place? He goes every door.
Or did he create it?
He created like. I don't know if anyone watches American Horror Story this season, but where they have this guy that creates the hell house, the perfect hotel for death. So is it this that when Littlefinger buys an establishment, he's like, okay, this place would work for me. It's like someone coming in. What we need more peepholes. Like
this is the torture room, and that can be looked in on from the voyeur room, which can be looked in on from the. Okay, yeah, we can do this. We can work this out.
We're a little off with the chat. Ren says, Joe, that was what confused me. If he hated his son, why didn't he have value as a hostage? And E. Martinez says, if it was Theon and I went to see my father after all those years and he rejected me, I would have went back to Robb. Vince says, yeah, could someone explain the scene to me? Why is one person getting a blowjob looking at another person having sex through a peephole? Is that getting him off?
Yeah, hell yeah. So, you know, you like to watch your porn while you have sex.
Yeah, some people are voyeuristic. They like it. They like being watched or watching.
Their wife or husband, you know, having sex with other people as well.
Yep. And we ultimately hear a woman crying, and a guy shows up in the room where Baelish is peepholing in the peephole. And it's a man saying, I barely touched her, and you charge twice as much as the other brothels. Well, it costs a lot to get these peepholes put in. It's a lot of money.
She started crying. I didn't even whip out my Pekka, and she started crying. What the fuck, Baelish?
I'm sorry, everybody, that the chat is acting funky. YouTube, as I mentioned, the YouTube streaming service is getting all wacky, and they're rolling out updates. Fortunately, they were able to recover our video from last week. I was in talks with this support, which can't say enough good things about my friend Aaron in YouTube support that helped me through the process of getting that video back. That it almost wasn't back. So I really like to thank him for that. And he basically told me that everything is a work in progress and they're aware of issues and they're going to try to deal with it. So,
yeah, Lady Squee, H.H. Holmes from the World's Fair.
So
he might actually be Jack the Ripper too. Thoughts that H.H. Holmes, the guy that built the real murder hotel, might have actually been him too. It's kind of cool.
So Baelish snaps his finger and a woman emerges from the other room, and she's covered in gold jewelry, but she also has a little bit of cum on the side of her face. So he gives her a cloth.
I love that.
Wipe the semen off, and then she just goes and starts making out.
There you go, baby. Yep, she's right for it. Sticks her tongue down his throat.
Baelish just does everything but dry gag in his mouth. He's just like,
no, he loves it. I think that turned him on.
You think that turned him on a little bit? What do you think? What turns Peter Baelish on?
Money and power.
Catelyn Stark, obviously, but that's because of the power, right?
Yep, the money and power. See, what's turning him on isn't the fact that she's kissing in front of him. It's that he got this guy to stick around and have some other dudes come in his mouth. That's power to him. That's him pulling scenes, and this guy's got no idea what's going on, and he loves that. That makes him hard.
Really shows how fucking creepy Littlefinger is, says Joe Matt.
Yes, it does.
Ren says love, and Lady Squee says love the cleaning off the horse scene. Just funny stuff. And somebody says, where we go?
He's a pimp, and he shows it right here. He walks in right afterwards. He walks over to go see Roz, who's crying.
He cleans her up, slaps her ass, and sends her off. And one quick thing, Joe Madden says, Aussie Man has a great video of Littlefinger's compilation set through Radiohead. Creep. Can't say enough great things about that. That's really awesome. If you haven't already, definitely check out Aussie Man. It's a reviews channel. He's one of the best.
He's pretty funny.
Yeah, he's a funny fucking bastard. So, cannot say enough good things about Aussie Man. So Baelish says, please accept my sincerest apologies, and Ramka will take good care of you. So he walks into the other room, as Joe was saying, and walks into the other room, and Roz is curled up in the bed crying. And at first, Littlefinger looks like if he had walked into this situation and Roz had said, he hurt me, he choked me out, or he did something, he crossed a line. I think
this guy would have been whipped in the alley.
Right, exactly. I think Littlefinger would have been supportive. But the fact of what Roz is really upset at,
he would have been whipped in the alley, but not because he hurt her, but because he hurt her without paying
extra. Yeah, without checking that box on the where do you want the masseuse to circle here, without checking that box and getting a girl that's into that. You don't give your madam to someone that's going to beat her. You give one of the Roz is too important to Littlefinger, essentially, for that to be in that kind of position.
Unless he's going to make good bank off it.
Ben says, "Why does Littlefinger have a whorehouse? He's the master of coin." I think because
he had whorehouses before he became the master of coin.
Right, it was part of what he built. It's his bread and butter.
It's because he has more than one whorehouse. He has quite a few in King's Landing, maybe even outside of King's Landing. He's got littler whorehouses. He's got his finger in a lot of different businesses, not just the whorehouses, which is one of his prominent businesses. And because of those whorehouses, he gets secrets. He gets whispers, just like the spider, the master of secrets, the master of whispers there. So he's like Varys' greatest adversary in the war of knowledge. And like secrets and all that shit.
As we've said many times, the whole entire series could be called a chess game between Littlefinger and Varys.
Right. So when you start telling the king, who's also a known fucking whoremonger, that you got the best whores from Lys and from Karth and from all over the fucking world who can suck your crack off the most
your crack off
better than anybody else on the planet, the king says, hey, you know, you're a smart guy. I love what you've done with this place. Look at all the peepholes. Maybe you want to work my
Littlefinger's
kingdom. We need money.
Littlefinger's basically the Nucky Thompson of King's Landing.
Yes.
Great way of saying that. And I also, to address a question that's going on in the chat now too, the money that Littlefinger makes in these courthouses is that's money that he gives to the crown. He's the one that handles the crown's finances, so I'm sure he gives the crown their cut.
Yeah, he gets taxed just like everybody. You may not be able to tax each individual blowjob, but you can certainly say as the crown, hey, Littlefinger, you know, you're running a business. You owe us, and you don't like it, we'll fucking burn your whorehouse down, take your whores, and hang you from the wall.
Yep. And we got to think about also last week when the Kingsguard didn't give two shits that it was Littlefinger's establishment.
Exactly. You know, he's a merchant essentially, and happens to be working as the kingdom's accountant. So he sits on the small council and ends up giving a lot of advice because he's so knowledgeable about people and their secrets. But ultimately, he's there to tell them, we can't afford to build new ships. We can't afford to clean up the streets. We can't, or maybe we can afford to hire a few more guards. We've lost a few, this and that kind of shit. He's master of coin. But that's a powerful position because nobody really knows the books but you.
And we get this amazing monologue by Peter Baelish, and I'm going to read it all because I fucking love it. You know, you remind me of another girl, a lovely thing I once acquired from a pleasure house, beautiful like you and intelligent as yourself. I'm sorry, I have to read it like Peter Baelish. But she wasn't happy. He does it in this like that low Baelish voice. But she wasn't happy. She cried often. I asked her why, but we didn't have that kind of.
No, he does it and Peter Baelish does it very soft and caring. He sounds like he's actually trying to help her here.
But he does it in that serious, low Baelish voice when then he switches the voice when he says at the end, bam.
Very close to the end when he starts to
take off the night. Yeah, take off the night. But she wasn't happy. She cried often. I asked her why. We didn't have the same kind of rapport that you and I have. It was quite sad. Girls from the pleasure houses are expensive, really expensive.
And that's when it starts to turn because he doesn't say like, oh, and I just couldn't make her happy.
This is when he
turns it to like his loss and not her loss. Like she was sad about something, but she couldn't tell me what and how to make it better. And it was costing me money. So ultimately, that's the bottom line here, bitch. You're making me money. I'll give you the night off. But hey, that's it. You come back here in the morning and there's nothing but smiles and blowjobs from you, or I'm going to sell you to fucking Joffrey or Ramsay or some other sick bastard that's going to really have fun with you.
Yep. Wasn't making me any money. I hate bad investments. I really do. They haunt me. I have no idea how to make a happy, no idea how to mitigate my losses.
What is she, a fucking slave?
A very wealthy patron. He offered me a tremendous amount of money to let him transform his lovely, sad girl to use her in ways that could never occur to most men. And you know what occurs to most men? I would not say he succeeded in making her happy, but losses were definitely mitigated. As he stands up, bam, another voice change. Take tonight's off to mourn the child. I'll see you tomorrow, but you'll be happy, right? And as Rods goes, yes, he's like, that'll make me happy. Now, do you like to ask the question that just got rolled by in the chat? Do you like his performance as Littlefinger?
Absolutely. I think it's brilliant. I'm not a huge fan of his. I think he does like the same thing in every movie I've seen him in, but I really like this guy.
I didn't love him in The Wire, to be honest.
I thought he was okay in The Wire. I didn't love him in that.
I didn't like his accent
in Shanghai Nights.
His accent really bothered me in The Wire.
And he does the same kind of thing in Shanghai Nights with an accent. With this tone, like when you actually hear him talk in real life, he doesn't have this like weaselly kind of ratty fucking thing that he does, and he does real well.
Someone says, yeah, but he's too obviously manipulative. People seem to be stupid trusting him, whereas Littlefinger in the book often gets described as someone that you would trust, but he's actually like you want to trust him, and he seems trustworthy, but really is manipulative behind closed doors of it. It's the smiling face. In the show, he comes off very obviously as a manipulator. Like anyone that wouldn't know this guy was a manipulator is an idiot.
Right, you walk into a used car lot knowing you're about to deal with a fucking used car salesman. I'm not saying anything that they're bad people. They're very good people, a lot of them. But like, you get the feeling like you're going to be getting ripped off or whatever just because you're buying a used car. It has nothing to do with the person. Like, Peter Baelish is a pimp. He is a fucking pimp. Like, he will sell his horse to pretty bad people, and that's what I don't understand. Ross, why can't Ross just get up and leave? Like, you're gonna what? You're gonna sell me to who? Like, you I'm not profitable to you. I'm nothing but profit.
Is she like Anakin's mother? Is she owned by Littlefinger now?
I'm taking up bed space upstairs.
You have a bracelet that's gonna explode if she doesn't leave or something like that.
Yeah, like, I thought that was kind of strange.
Need some peoples. We got the luckiest peoples in the whole entire world. Peoples. And oh my goodness, like he says in season 2 episode 1, everyone here is a liar and they're all better than you. DB, I don't get that vibe. I think he's just Varys. He's just like Varys, who's a manipulator, yet people trust him as well. Littlefinger sold off Sansa too. So much for Stark love. He's not a Vince says he's not a pimp. He's a politician and a social climber. He's a master of coin.
He's not a pimp. He just crushed a lot.
Sam says, yes, Joe, that's the perfect description of Littlefinger. He is so a used car salesman. And I agree. I think that's actually a really good way of pointing out, like, you're going to get fucked, but you're going to have to just deal with it.
Eventually, you have to trust one of them.
Yep. So here we go as we cut to our next scene. I thought that was a really good scene, and I really like seeing Littlefinger, seeing more exploration of Littlefinger on the show, obviously, because we actually get inside his head a little bit, something we never really get too much in the books. Seeing scenes like this and seeing him threaten somebody, it's really fun stuff. seeing Littlefinger threaten somebody is really fun. Okay, so we cut to maybe the best episode in the entire universe ever, but a really fucking awesome scene of Podrick motherfucking Payne and pouring some wine for Tyrion and Janos Slint after, and I want to say I might have messed up last week and said that when Janos Slint stabbed the baby and said Meryn Trent stabbed the baby, but obviously, I can't remember. I was a little buzzed at the end of that particular podcast last week. So, but it's Tyrion has brought Janos Slint there to talk to him about what he did to the babies, and basically
the word is everywhere that all these kids were just murdered.
Yep.
Robert had a lot of bastards. It wasn't just one murder in the brothel, and that, like, we saw a couple of cutscenes of these guards killing little boys and girls, but really there was massive kill. There was at least, like, I want to say 12 to 20, something like that, of kids in King's Landing that were killed. And Robert might have like 30 bastards or some shit like that nobody he fucked a lot. Fucked and fucked and fucked.
Oh, speaking of fucking, I just love seeing Podrick Payne in this situation. So Tyrion says, leave us, Podrick. I believe we know how to pour our own wine. Jenna says, is this your new squire? Could have found you a proper lad. I prefer the improper ones. And this is just a really fun interaction between the two of them, where Tyrion immediately is like manipulating this like little loser and knowing he's going to fucking put the hammer down at any point in time. My lord, call me Tyrion. I'm sure you get used to these fine dinners now that you're a lord. Maybe if I hire this cook of yours, wars have been started for less. Ha ha ha. I was able to sip wine. Tyrion says, I heard there was some trouble in Littlefinger's brothel the other night. Yeah, nasty business had to be done. Yes, of course, City Watch must keep the peace. Only I hadn't realized that peace depends on killing babies. Flint says, orders are orders, and Tyrion's like, quite right, especially the Queen's orders. Janos says, I never said it was the Queen's orders. No, but who else would want to murder?
He doesn't pick up on that at all.
No.
He doesn't. Tyrion just completely glazes over that comment of his.
No, and that's part of the problem where he's so focused on Cersei.
Yep.
He's so focused on Cersei. So he doesn't see what's to come later. Just to say that. So who else would want to kill King Robert's bastard? She's always been a jealous woman. You know your sister better than I. You've heard their awful rumors about my brothers and sisters. He plays the good good, weasel here. And Tyrion's like, no, that's good for you. But you've heard the rumors. I suppose people who believe in that filth consider Robert's bastards to have a better claim on the throne. And he just keeps going back and forth. And it's just really funny how he eventually he just uses his superior intellect and his superior way to talk him into a bubble. And
this dude feels it coming. He can absolutely. It starts out kind of like a nice meal or something, and like very quickly goes bad, and Jonas really picks up on it quick.
He does, and again, I love so much. A lot more is made in the book about how Janos Slint is given Harrenhal and how big of a deal that is, and Tywin doesn't really like that, and no one really likes that. And so Tyrion is like completely, for the first time in his life, in a situation where he fully has his father's support to do what he needs to do in this situation. Cersei is a dick about it, because his father probably would do the same thing. I wouldn't give a fucking Harrenhal to Janos Slint. Fuck that bullshit. Janos Slint is a douche.
Right,
and
which makes it even more like people aren't paying attention here.
Mm-mm. And we get two of Tyrion's funniest lines to date. Janos, when your men slaughtered Ned Stark's men in the throne room, did you give the order? Janos says, I did, and I would again. The man was a traitor. He tried to buy my loyalty. And Tyrion says, the fool, he had no idea you were already bought. And Janos is like, are you drunk? I will not have my honor questioned by an imp. I'm not questioning your honor, Lord Janos. I'm denying its existence.
Right, so awesome.
I fucking love that. Love it. It's so fucking amazing. Great. Just one of the best fucking... Okay, we've talked about this a lot before. If Peter Dinklage wants your girl, Peter Dinklage is getting your girl. If Peter wants a crow on his back, he's going to be like, Joe, I'm taking your crow, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's part of it is you don't want to get into a position where he is ragging on you. And Tyrion Lannister is, because Tyrion, when he digs in, he knows, he just is so perfect at that. And it's part of it is when you're oppressed, when you're dealing, not to mention to be in a family like the Lannisters where everyone's such witty blonde cocksucker. I see your blonde hair and your shit talk. They're one of those families that always argue and always go at each other. And Tyrion has to fight with the only weapon he had, which was his mind. He's not someone you fuck with. And this is just a really fun scene. Vince says, Janos gets too much hate. He's a common man, a butcher who's rise from rags to riches by the grace of the Lannisters, and thus loyal to them. He had children to feed. And no doubt, he is one of those people that doesn't question orders. And I think it's, just to piggyback on your point, it's easy to see that Tyrion doesn't think about things the way that someone even like Bronn does. Bronn's like, yeah, I'd kill a kid. I just ask how much. The capper of the scene. It's not so much the killing the children that bothers Bronn too much. It's the not getting paid for it. So I hear what you're saying. Janos Slint, we find out later, he's just kind of a douchey douche. He's not really an evil guy. He's just sort of like a douchey foot soldier that, you're right, essentially is just trying to do whatever he can for his family and realize that the Lannisters is probably the best bet for him financially. They made him the best deal. He's slimy. He's not like an evil dude. He's just slimy. So, oh, please, Vince, says Joe Madden. We're about to get the oh, please for me, too. Hey, I'm trying. I like trying to argue devil's advocate. But I do think he's like a worthless douche more than he's an evil guy. Yeah. If that makes sense. I know he stabbed Phil. I'm waiting for this. Phil, he stabbed a baby.
Right. When one of his guards couldn't do it, he stepped up and slit that baby's
right. He saw that as an opportunity because he knew he'd be killed or he'd be punished if he didn't do what the king's orders or the queen's orders were. Queen Regent. And I'm a fool to think that he's my friend. I have friends.
Well, here's the thing. Like Baelish says, that it was handled poorly.
Yeah, it was handled poorly.
He could have taken the baby out of the, and killed them off somewhere else, so nobody ever knew if the baby was alive or dead, just gone.
Yeah, it wasn't. The whole situation was not handled well. Al, Red Sox fan, says he followed the orders and pays the price in a stand-up, feel-good moment. Nice head roll, Janos. Janos says family in the book. Yes. Janos finds the right people to have his back. Well, according to South Park, there's a reason to kill babies. Okay, so you think I'll sit here and take this from a dwarf? Dwarf, you should have stopped at imp, motherfucker. And yes, you will stand there and take it from me unless you want to take it from my friend who just amazingly Bronn just shows up out of nowhere. And Tyrion says, I intend to serve as hand of the king until my father returns from the war, and you're going to the wall. And Bronn's going to be my new Lord Commander of the Knights of the City's Watch, or the new Commander of the City's Watch. And they drag him out of there, and Janos starts crying and bitching. Oh, I've got friends. Yep. Bye. And they send him off to the wall. And Tyrion and Bronn sit and drink, and they clink their glasses together. And Tyrion asks him, if I told you to kill an infant girl still at her mother's breast, would you without question? And Bronn says, without question, no, I'd ask how much. And it is worth mentioning that in the books, Bronn is not made head of the City Watch. I believe it's someone called Bywater. I forget their first name, but it's somebody else that is, I believe, one of Varys's people becomes the head of the City Watch in the books. They ended up giving Bronn a lot more to do on the show because Jerome Flynn and Peter Dinklage have such great chemistry, and the character is a very popular one. Even in the books is very popular. So they wanted to give him more stuff to do, and I honestly have no problem with any of those changes. I don't mind any of the stuff that they've changed in the from show to book to show with Bronn stuff. It's more Bronn, the better. No problem. Jackson Bywater, I believe. Thank you, Joe Madden. I would say that Joffrey ordered the murder of Robert's bastards, negates that. Is the worth of a king's bastard the same as a regular bastard? I think a king's bastard's probably more important.
Right, even a lord's bastard's more important.
Is a little more important. And Jen asks, not by Melisandre. Great point, Jen. Bywater, that's another word for pee, ain't it? Says Vaughn. I like that. Okay, so we cut to the camp, back in the camp with the kids. We get kid time with Gendry gathering some water in a bucket. Lomi and Hot Pie sit there next to the river, washing things. Arya sits there, washing things as well, doing the same, kind of rolling her eyes. But Arya...
Talking about knights. You know he's a knight because he had armor. Well, who
told
you that? A knight? How did you know he was a knight?
Because he had armor. Well, I made armor. And I love how Arya...
I sold armor. Any idiot can buy an armor.
Arya gets right into this here, though. She loves... She opens right up. When she knows she's not in danger and she feels good. She's wonderfully adjustable. She has if her just as a person specifically, or maybe it could be a Stark thing. No, because Sansa's not like that, but her direwolf's dead. But Arya...
Jon's not like that.
Jon's not like that either. So it's an Arya thing where Arya goes to a new place and she just adapts so well. Yes, and she knows how to adapt. And she just goes right into the balance of really what it's like to be a guy when you're a kid. Yeah, I know knights. I know everything. No, you don't. You're an idiot. You don't know shit. And just someone going, well, how do you not know I'm telling the truth? Because
she's doing all the guy shit without even she's going to gather wood. She's doing this. She's doing that. Like she's not a little girl. She's a little boy.
Dean, who is fucking kicking ass with the one-liners tonight. Hot Pie. I am the fork in the darkness. I am the watcher of the stove. Hot Pie is so, and I love the scene too, LaDonna. Hot Pie is so gullible. He's actually really cute. And I think all the actors here do really exceptional jobs. I think, again, we talked about casting a lot earlier. They do an exceptional job with the kid actors. 9 times out of 10. And Hot Pie, Arya, this is just Lomi. It's just really fun interactions between them all. And also with Gendry, and seeing how Gendry's, or just watching Arya just get smitten with Gendry the whole time and get her eyes and if he didn't know she was a girl already, he's gonna know now. Just the way she's looking at it, she's like, she's almost playing with her hair while she's looking at him, like, oh, Gendry.
Because he knows everything. He knew I was a boy.
Because he's not only the toughest one, he's also the smartest one, and he's clearly the biggest, the best looking, and the smartest. So it's just an interesting balance. He's got that Baratheon glow about him.
Good looks.
We barely get to see Rickon, so I have no opinion. And Bran isn't my favorite, but I pick him over Sansa. Oh, we're talking about worst Stark. Sansa's the worst Stark, says DB. This is who's this Rickon you're talking about? Oh, actually, he's still on the show we were watching right now. Excuse me. I think him and Gendry are going to be big parts of the series as time goes on. So it's just a fun moment with the two of them and with the three of them. And then we get an Arya and stops washing. She stands up and walks over to where Gendry is. And she goes, what'd the Gold Cloaks want with you? No idea. Arya's like, you're a liar. And kind of follows him. They're, again, super fucking cute. You shouldn't insult people that are bigger than you, says Gendry. Then I wouldn't get to insult anyone, says Arya. No good will ever come of questions, says Gendry. No good will ever come. Who asked questions before? Because Arya's smart as a whip. She just like picks this all out. How can someone so small be such a huge pain in my ass? Who asked you questions? The hand of the king or the hands of the king? Lord Arryn and then Lord Stark. Lord Stark, yep, see, he asked me questions, is bad luck. Blah, 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 blah. And Gendry eventually goes, why you said that they were after you? Why are they after you? Because you're a girl? And she's like, I'm not a girl. yeah you are. You think I'm as stupid as the rest of them? Stupider. Night's Watch doesn't take girls. That's true. You're still a fucking girl. Well, no, I'm not. And I love where he puts this. There's a really awful 80s movie where called Just One of the Guys. It's so bad it's good. Johnny Lawrence from Cobra Kai stars in it. It's about a girl that goes to high school as a boy for like a journal movie. Yeah, she's like for like a journalistic assignment. And I couldn't help but think of this moment where Gendry's just like, well, pull out your cock. And
in that movie too?
It's been a long time. I don't think Jon Cryer's in it. You're thinking of somebody else. It's not Jon Cryer. It's somebody playing a Jon Cryer-like character. Whip it out and take a piss. And Arya's like,
McCarthy?
No, it isn't Andrew McCarthy. IMDb that shit while I'm talking if you're curious. Arya says, I don't need to take a piss. Lomi and Hot Pie, and then she just changes her mind. Once she knows that it's not flying, she goes, Lomi and Hot Pie can't know. No one can know. Then they won't know from me. My name's not Arya, it's Arya of House Stark. Yoren's taking me home to Winterfell. And then Gendry's like, your father, the traitor? He was never a traitor. Joffrey's a liar. And I love how she's still so pissed at Joffrey. This is all about her. Joffrey is a fucking liar. So Gendry's like, you're highborn then. You're a lady. No. And then he kind of gets into this wise assery with her.
He teases her a little bit.
You're a lord.
Calling you lady. I pissed in front of you.
Yes. Yes. And I was so proud of that. Such a beautiful sight. I should be calling you milady. Don't call me milady. As milady commands, and she pushes him. That was very unladylike. Such a cool scene, just really cute watching the two of them. I love the two of them have great chemistry, and I do hope we get to see lots more scenes with them in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Gendry looks like a young Robert when she knocks him down. He just starts laughing. Great. When you play Game of Thrones, you die or you pie, says Dean.
You die or you pie.
Oh my gosh, this reminds me of Amanda Bynes' movie She's the Man. And Joe Mann says, I vaguely remember that Just One of the Guys movie. The best line of that whole movie is when she finally gets discovered, she runs out and she like makes out with the guy. Spoiler alert, she's discovered at the end. And she had just shown her tits to the guy she likes that she had
that was awesome when
she does. Yeah, and then she comes out, it's a big brouhaha, and the guy's line is, don't worry, guys, he's got tits. Yeah, that was like the line of the movie. Don't worry, he's got tits. So, okay, speaking of gotten tits, we cut to the Iron Islands where Theon starts sucking on the boob of his sister. Now, the scene starts with a wide shot of a busy dock. Theon is standing on the rowboat as he comes up, waiting for his ticker-tape parade that never happens. He's waiting for the greeting, but no greeting comes, and eventually Yara, sorry. Some reason the show changed the Theon's sister's name. I guess to not confuse it with Osha because they thought it sounded too similar. It's whatever. It doesn't bother me too much, but it is one of those interesting why they didn't have to change that, but they did. So we meet Yara here, and Yara starts getting into this whole thing with Theon where making Theon think that she wants to bang him and she's interested and lets him grope her, like get all up on her and talk shit. And
this is the part in the books. It's different. She's stopping him from doing it.
And during the books, there's also like a mute that's there that knows the situation and knows that
doesn't tell him that she's his sister. Well, it still stops him from doing it.
Yeah, still kind of plays. Kayla says that was a really cute scene between Arya and Gendry. The young actors are really cute. LaDonna's like ticker tape parade. Yeah, he really wanted them.
And it's not her playing; it's the dad making so he can know who he is.
And Lady Squeeze said, I think I know why they changed it. You called her OSHA earlier, Phil, by the way. Yeah, I did. I remember that. I said it. I said, I was like,
OSHA.
Yeah, I did. I totally did. You're absolutely right. But she just, and again, like DB just said, she was totally owning him the whole scene. It was really quite funny. But in the moment and hearing the two actors talk about it, I think that they just got a little carried away. And one thing that's worth mentioning from things that they were saying, they said this scene took an extra long time to shoot because because the horse kept stopping and farting. The horse had extremely bad gas.
Dead men and horses.
Yes, dead men and horses fart like shit. So then we finally get to meet Daddy. We finally get to meet
Daddy.
I'm
home, Daddy.
Home, Daddy. Inside Pyke, Balon Greyjoy stands in front of a fireplace. Theon enters the room. It's really nice.
I love that fireplace with the cracking over it.
Yep. Awesome. And it seems like, and I'm
just the Pyke itself is awesome. The castle is fucking sweet. Those towers, amazing views.
No, they did a really good job with the sets, and they and especially Pyke looks really, really awesome. And I guess it was right next to where they did Dragonstone, because when we get into seeing the map set later on, Theon and Yara talk about how they would between takes they would go over to the Stannis the Dragonstone scene and play with the toys on the map. And I was like, you fucking assholes! I'm gonna play with those toys on that fucking map. Pricks. So, okay, so they must have been... Joe Madden says they must have been feeding that horse beefaroni. Oh my gosh. Smelly, smelly. Stinky, stinky. Okay, so let us continue. He can't keep his pants on. So Balon says it's 9 years. We talked a lot about this earlier. They took a frightened boy. What have they given me back? A man, your blood, and your ear. Balon says, we shall see. And he immediately goes into testing. He's testing how much of his son or how much Greyjoy is left in there. Do you think, Joe, that Theon subconsciously went in there with the dress on and with all the garb because of self-hatred that's ingrained in him because of having to grow up with his father's enemies?
No, I
think he even thought for a second that he shouldn't have gone in there like that? Did he have no understanding of his people? And I mean, we talked about this a little earlier. Do you think that Theon had any true understanding of what it is to be an Ironborn?
Zero understanding.
Zero understanding?
All he knows is like lores and legends and what was told to him from the Starks and what he's had to make it all up himself.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt that. And anything else that he has heard is from Maester Lewin, who is kind of shits on the Greyjoys. The Greyjoys are the Munsons of the entire, or of all of Westeros. 1 second, my audio recording stopped. I have to fix that. What's that?
No, they're not even. That's the phrase. They're essentially like this outlaw island that like raids up and down the coast. Like that's what they do. They fish. They pretty much have like the largest iron mines on those islands, and they raid. And that's what they do. They raid and they raid and they raid. They torment the north. They torment the south. Anything that's on the coast. They've even gone all the way up some of those rivers inland to attack people and shit.
Everyone says that no, he didn't even didn't have an idea. It was insulting. And to go back to the last scene just to get this, Joe, what the fuck? Everyone has to gather fucking wood and wash dishes. She just does dress like a girl and presents answers to a boy. And Sam says, well, Theon isn't the smartest individual because he proves he doesn't know basic Northern history, even with a Northern Lord's education, i.e. the guessing game with Ramsay. DB says he's forgotten the iron ways long ago. Yeah, and I bet I agree because I don't think he's getting any knowledge. He's somebody that just probably knows the rumors of the Ironborn. Is like, yeah, my dad's like totally cool. My dad was in a rock band, and he just like knows the elements, but doesn't actually know what it's like to be on the road and all that sort of shit. He just has no concept of it. He just knows to him his dad's cool because his dad fought against oppression and he's a rebel. My dad was a rebel. But he does say to Balon in the scene, I remember when my father was a king. So Lord Stark's gone, and Balon, I love the look on the actor's face when he turns around, and the first we really see of his face. And Lord Stark's gone, and how do you feel about that? Always testing. Like someone, again, we talk a lot about poker games. Like someone at a poker table asking questions, trying to get tells out of his prey. Just, so, what's going on, buddy? What do you got over there? What's done is done, Theon says. I brought you a proposal from Robb Stark. Who gave you those clothes? Ignores the proposal. Who gave you those clothes? Was it Ned Stark's pleasure to dress you up like his daughter? Just pushing at him. And I think in this point, waiting for Theon to strike back. Trying to get anything, trying to get the reaction from Theon. Any reaction, get that. Fuck you. You know where I got these? I used these fucking Starks, and you're right. I fucking, used your enemy and manipulating, and I've been on the inside the whole time. You're my king. Yada, yada, yada. Like, the Theon, and I guess you guys are right. Everyone in the chat, and you were right too, Joe. Theon was just dumb and naive enough to think that this was all going to work out for him.
Yep. He thought his importance was much more than it actually is. And that what he didn't realize is, not everybody is down with Robb Stark. And he didn't even think about it. He has been with them for so long. His entire, like half his life, he has been with the Starks that he doesn't even know or realize that he's a prisoner. Now, the question about the Stark thing is, do you think he holds the Starks responsible, or he's focusing all his anger on the Starks because they're the ones that took his son, or rewarding his son? Or is it because he sees them and he sees the North in this position where they're led by a child in the weaker position? So he's going after the weaker. A little bit of all of it. I tend to think it's a little bit more that he's going after the weakest possible opponent rather than any specific problem he has with the Starks. It's just with everyone that isn't Iron. And he's looking at the Starks as the easiest targets for his attacks because they're the weakest, because all the northern lords and everybody from the north is all gathered with Robb Stark heading south. So he has a lot more. The north is less protected, so they're easier to attack, and they wouldn't be expecting it. DB says, this talk of Theon and Robb is making me sad. Yeah, I no problem. LaDonna says, I love the storyline in the books about the depressed mother who wanders the halls calling for their deceased sons and later starts coming out of the haze when Yara starts taking control. Absolutely. And we said this at the beginning of the podcast. We could go on for days about all the awesome stuff to do with the Ironborn. It's safe to say that even the Ironborn stuff that we get on the show at the best is whitewashed a little bit. You get the very basics of it. They don't even go into as much depth as they go into any of the other families or any of the other situations on the show. The Ironborns are, for the most part, seen as relatively two-dimensional characters comparatively to some of the other forces we see in Westeros. They really fuck up the entire...
They really do. Personally, I think the actors do good performances with what they get, but what they choose to focus on, the details they choose to get, it is such a deep, rich history for good or for bad with the Ironborns, with what's going on with Balon and how he's losing power on the Iron Islands because the marketplaces are doing so well, and they make it seem like it's trashy when Theon shows up. There's just little things that they fuck up with the Ironborn stuff that's just little easy stuff that they didn't need to fuck up, that kind of mildly irritates me that I don't even really realize when I'm watching. It's more stuff that later, like, oh, this was so cool. Why didn't they go into that more? And I'm not talking about Kingsmoot and going all down that route. I get all that. I'm just talking about simple structure of what kind of people they are. And what's going on with the power struggle in the Iron Islands and little things like you're talking about the woman, the mother crying about the dead, like just all of that. It's just,
it could have been someone at the wharf or at the beach.
Get him, Toad!
Doing some what's drowned will never die shit.
Yeah. Welcome. We shall not sow, motherfucker. All hail the hypnotic Ghetto Toad. Welcome, my buddy, Ghetto Toad. Good to see you, my friend. And oh, buddy. So okay, so Balon says, or Theon goes, if my clothes offend you, I'll change them. It will, and you will. As he starts walking towards them, that bauble around your neck, did you pay for that, or did you pay the iron price or gold? And I asked the question, did you pull it from the neck of a corpse, or did you buy it to match your fine clothes, iron or gold? If anyone's curious, the iron price is a concept in the culture of the Ironborn and their local religion of the drowned god. Paying the iron price means seizing something from those one has defeated rather than paying or trading for it.
Giving him iron, a sword to the belly.
Yep. And it's also worth mentioning that something we learned from the audio commentary was this specific scene was the scene that Alfie Allen auditioned before season 1 for the part of Theon. So this script was written a long time ago. So yeah, there's that. Thus that. We still have another hour of chatting with 20 minutes left of a show. Kaylana. Hey, Phil, don't bitch about the Iron Islands. Hope they do well with Dorne. Yeah, good point. Good point. I think there's no way they could fuck up Dorne. I mean, no way. Dorne's gonna be really awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. So Balon reaches out and rips off the clothes of Theon's cloak, and it falls to the ground. Balon says, "I will not have my son dressed like a whore." Balon walks towards the fireplace, looks into it. "My fears have come true. The Starks have made you theirs." And Theon goes, "My blood is still salt and iron." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't know about that."
Yeah, but your pussy smells like flowers.
Yeah. And then Yara comes in and starts going, "No, or basically Theon shows him the letter. He reads the letter that basically says, and I have the whole letter listed below. And I'll get into that towards the end of the podcast.
You'll be king.
You'll be king if you back me up. And Balon's like, "Fuck you! I don't need to be king. That you're giving it to me. That's not the iron price. I want to take it. If I'm going to be king, I'm going to take it." And Theon's like, "Well, I'll lead the battle." And he goes, "No, you won't. Even if we did do this battle, Yara's going to lead it." And Yara comes in. He's like,
"See, but that's just it. Balon is such an idiot. He doesn't understand. He would be taking it. It's not Robb Stark. He's got to take it from. It's
everybody. It's the Lannisters." Ultimately.
Right.
So Yara ends up coming in here and giving Theon the wah. yes, and he immediately realizes it's his sister once she's next to Balon. So he didn't get it before, but maybe he looked at her for the very first time. I don't know. So he goes, "She can't lead the army. She's a woman." And Yara's like, "You're the one in skirts." And Balon says, "This isn't Winterfell, boy. Your sister took over command of your eldest brother's ship after your new father killed him." And as all three go, "What is dead may never die." And I love how Theon joins in late. He's like, "What's dead never die." So Balon says, "No man gives me a crown. I pay the iron price. I will take my crown. That's who I am. That's who I'll always be." As Balon walks away with Yara,
we will always be.
We will always be. Theon says, "You won't stand a chance against the Lannisters." And Balon says, "Who said anything about the Lannisters?"
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so we get into, there's lots more detail about this situation in the books, but again, we whitewash we'll get more into the Ironborn, and this is probably our biggest Ironborn season to date, so we're going to get into a lot more Ironborn stuff. So let us continue as we go over to Dragonstone. Yeah. Okay, so we go to Dragonstone.
Give yourself to the Lord of Light by fucking me.
First, we see the Davos, but wait before we get there, Joe. Hold it, because I know you're going to fucking explode with that shit. So Davos and Salladhor Sand walking on the beach, and we get Mathos, Davos's kid. And this is a real fun scene between Davos and Salladhor Sand, who he's trying to get to join Stannis' army.
Oh, right.
Ultimately, he gets, and it's just a great visual scene.
I haven't had you suck my cock yet, boy.
Yes. Ultimately leads up to Davos saying, "You want to spend your last few years at sea stealing from cheesemongers, or do you want to go out there and get the best city, the richest city, or the greatest city of all Westeros?" And Salladhor Saan says, "I'll do this, but I want to fuck the queen." Fuck the queen? You're going to rape her? No, I'm not going to rape her. I'm going to fuck her. I'm very persuasive.
Yep.
I want to fuck this blonde queen. And then we also get the vibe here that Mathos, Davos's son, is really drinking the Red God's Kool-Aid and trying to convince or trying to teach Davos how to read, because
if you can read the Bible of the Red God.
Exactly, and that's the only reason. LaDonna says, "I hope Salladhor Sand gets to fuck Cersei." I think we all do. I think we can all we're all hoping that those two
we're on that wagon.
Yeah, I hope those two crazy kids find each other in this wacky world. Okay, so ultimately, there's not too much to the scene except for it is, again, I can't say enough how visually beautiful it is, shot against the beach, right on the sand, and Davos's son's kind of a dickweed. That honestly, this was, I remembered this scene, but I totally forgot about Davos's son. I had virtually had no memory of him for going back in a rewatch. I was like, oh,
he's a, like, as far as I'm concerned, they could have taken out anything with Davos' son and given us more shit with the Greyjoys.
Yeah, good point.
Almost wasted time because, but they're setting us up for something with him, I'm sure.
They made Vince says they made Davos an atheist. In the book, he was a believer in the Seven. Sam says, like, for real, I don't remember if he was in the Blackwater. Al says, let's hope they can get together. Louise says, Sam, he's the bath scene with the same girl Arya sells oysters to in Bravos. Yes, he does come back. So okay, so ultimately that's it. Anything else you want to say about the Davos and Mathos and Saldor Sand scene? Ultimately, the outcome for that is Davos gets him to take his 30 ships, I believe it is, to fight on Stannis' side to attack King's Landing. So we continue. Davos, we cut to King's Landing, and we are in Tyrion's room, and we get Tyrion sitting at a table with a cup of wine that Cersei places in front of him, pissed, yelling at him about the Janos Slint situation. And I just love how obstinate Cersei is. You can just tell how much fun the two of them have acting. You serve as hand of the king until father gets here. I'm the queen regent. Listen to me, queen regent. You're losing the people. Do you hear me? And she just goes, haha, the people. You think I care?
Yeah, you'll care when they start starving and they decide to eat you.
And then we get into the whole thing where he starts pushing that we could get the vibe that this was all Joffrey's plan because Cersei never admits to Tyrion that she's the one that ordered the killing of the kids. You might find it difficult to rule over millions who want you dead. Half the city will starve when winter comes. The other half will plot to overthrow you.
It's the same thing that it's the exact same reaction she has when he confronts her about Ned Stark.
Yeah, ultimately, she's just completely obstinate. And the top off of the scene that I really love is she goes, Joffrey did what needed to be done. You want to be hand of the king? You want to rule? This is what ruling is. Lying on a bed of weeds, ripping them out, root by one root, till they strangle you in your sleep. Tyrion says, I'm no king, but I think there's more to ruling than that. And Cersei says, I don't care what you think. You've never taken it seriously. You haven't, and Jaime hasn't. As she sits down, it's fallen all on me.
Oh, yeah. Please.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, all on you. You're just such a fucking egocentric little motherfucker that you make everything. You're one of those people that you think that your shit doesn't stink, so you think that you're out there on that limb, little Hamlet. No one understands my pain. When fuck you, Cersei. I understand what you're saying, that Tyrion's always been a drunk and Jaime never wanted to get into command. He was a warrior, so to speak, and has his own sense of honor. But the way she acts about it, she's just so douchey. And Tyrion says, as Cersei goes, I don't care what you think. You've never taken it seriously. You haven't. Jaime hasn't. It's fallen on me. And Tyrion's response, right on cue, is, as has Jaime repeatedly, according to Stannis.
And this is where she turns fucking evil.
Yeah, she turns super evil. And she says, someone says the Onion Knight deserves more credit, guys. We'll get to that in a second. She says, you're funny. Funny. You've always been funny.
You know what
none of your
moment was?
But none of your jokes will ever match the first one. You remember back when you ripped my mother open and she bled to death? As Tyrion says, she was my mother too. Now they're gone for the sake of you. There's no bigger joke in the world than that. And as you said earlier, Joe, Tyrion is super hurt.
Yep. And this is where you really feel how much she hates him. Just can't.
Yeah, just so much rage built up within her and so much frustration, partially wrapped into the Maggie the Frog prophecy and partly wrapped into everything and all the blame that she has. I think Tywin hates him for being an imp than for killing his wife. I think even Tywin can't quite hate him completely for that. I think he does. That's part of it.
There's much more to this story than we know. I'm still in the boat that
He might not be Tywin's son.
Yeah, that's my conspiracy theory right there. I think maybe the Mad King, there was something between him and the Mad King where he left as Hand of the King before the rebellion. I think that maybe this was something like they grew up together.
No, it is worth it, and we're gonna get into that more as time goes on. And to Ghetto Toad says he's a huge Davos fan, and Ren put some really awesome Davos quotes in the chat. I really like Davos as well. I like him more as time goes on. I don't like his son, and yeah, but I like Davos a lot as well. He's one of my on my top tier characters. I love the actor's portrayal of him specifically. I think I like the actor's portrayal more than that, and I like how he puts himself on the line and will eventually get to a point that he might think Stannis is God, as he says in that scene, Stannis is my God, but he'll still disagree with him when he thinks he's wrong. And that is important. Okay, it's everyone's like, it's almost 2 hours past bedtime. We're still going. Have a good night, Lady Squee. Thank you so much for checking us out tonight. It's been really awesome to be able to have you live. And if you are not checking us out live, you're listening to the podcast, audiocast, or watching this video later, join us live. Check out the channel, subscribe, and you'll see little reminders, notifications when we go live, or you can check on the channel to see when I create the events. And I like to create the events a couple days early or about a week early, so you'll know when different shows are coming up. So these Game of Thrones podcasts will be on Saturdays and on Sundays between now and the beginning of February, the second week in February. Then we'll find another home for them. Yeah, Joe disappeared. Joe said, bye-bye. I'm out of here, motherfucker. So we cut back to Dragonstone, and I mentioned this before, but the set for Dragonstone is right next to where Pyke was, and during the DVD commentaries, they were talking a lot about how they were playing with the toy map of Dragonstone. So we see Davos moving some ships around the model map of Westeros, and Mathos is looking on. Stannis enters with Melisandre, and Davos says, Your Grace, Your Grace, and we find out, he tells Stannis about the pirate situation and that, he's got the 30 ships, and that his men know how to fight. Stannis doesn't give a lot of respect, but knows that we'll respect these guys and pay them the money if they do the job. And Davos and him, they go back and forth, and he talks about how this guy's an old friend, and I've known him for 30 years. I've never trusted him, but if he gets the smell of gold, he'll never stop. So Stannis says, well, if he does his job, he will get his money. And then he says to Davos, leave us, as Davos leaves, and Melisandre and Stannis have their scene that as Joe's coming back. Let's get this out of the way. So she goes, you're not truly embracing the Lord of the Light. She also mentions that she says some stuff about Selyse. Selyse is not really a person, mentions all these bad things about Selyse. She's hiding away. I forget exactly what she says. Also says she doesn't have any kids. And they said in the DVD commentary, or I read somewhere, that initially no heirs, but they also didn't know if they were going to include any of Shireen in the show yet. And at this point, so they kept it specifically vague so that they could put her in later if they wanted to, but which they ultimately decided to, but they weren't sure at the time if they were going to include Shireen.
Well,
So
how can you not give us what you gave us in season 6? And it's worth it to point out too that this scene will only become okay in my mind if it happens, if she does this to him in the next book that's coming out. If she kind of throws this at him, then if George Martin was eventually going to be like, yeah,
no, I hear it, because in the books, for whatever it's worth, I know it's something that really bothers you, Joe, because in the books, it's never quite said exactly that he sleeps with Melisandre. It's said that they sleep in the same bed. It's talked about that they share a bed, but sex is never talked about. It's specifically vague. And it
comes to a point where she tries to seduce him, but he says no.
I'm a married man.
Yeah, he rebuffs the attempt multiple times. Like we actually get that in the book. So,
and people are so Joe, what do you think this does? Does this bother you about what this does to the Stannis character? How does this make you feel about what it does to Stannis as a character?
God, it completely changed his character. Takes away, like, he's supposed to be honorable beyond Robb Stark, even like honorable to a fault, which is why Renly talks about, nobody likes you. Yeah, you're honorable, but you don't have any friends because you see the flaws in everything everybody else does, because you have this remarkable sense of what's right and what's wrong and all this bullshit, that this alone really deeply changes his character.
Joe, round and round it goes. Round and round the motherfucker goes. Yeah, no, I hear you, Joe. And I just don't like this Melisandre one fucking bit. I think
the most disappointing character change. This, along with what they do to Sam, really kind of hurt me. But I get over it because, technically it's based on his book. It is his books, but
someone asks, so Joe,
a lot of changes.
So Joe, where do shadow babies come from, Joe?
Exactly right.
Do they come from the Shadow Stork? Does the Shadow Stork bring them down?
Come from the Shadowlands of Beyond the Shy.
Oh my gosh. So yes. So I love Stannis in the scene too. I've said the damn words. I burnt the idols, like just angry, frustrated. What the fuck?
Fuck this burning red pussy yet, Stannis.
Get on in, and they bang right there on the map. And I was just thinking, don't fuck up the map. That's such a pretty map. So
that table.
Al Red Sox fan says they ruined Stannis.
If I was ever gonna buy a movie or TV prop, it's either that table or the Sons of Anarchy table.
LaDonna says Stannis wouldn't talk about sex, so George R. R. Martin didn't overtly say it. She's like 300 years old per. Oh gosh, I've posted that theory long before the chats about Jaime Cersei being the real Mad King's kid. Yeah, a couple people have suggested, Joe, that not Tyrion is the Mad King's kids, that Jaime and Cersei are.
No, I believe they are actually Tywin's kids. I believe.
See, the only problem I have with the Tyrion being is, and I know this gets said a lot, but I can't say that. I don't think it messes it up completely, but I like the arc of Tywin and Tyrion better if they are blood related. And I know they're blood related either way because Tywin's blood related to his wife anyway. But
am I wrong? Isn't there like dwarfism in the Targaryen line somewhere?
I would have to. I would have to re-look at my. Let me move so you can see all my books behind me. Wait, you can see. I would have to go look at the World of Ice and Fire. I'm not positive about that. So let's continue. Anything else you want to say about our Stannis and Melisandre bullshit, Joe?
She's got really nice boobs.
Yeah, she doesn't hesitate to take off those clothes. So listen though, we love Mel. She can help me, man. Yeah, the Red Woman is kind of important right now, guys. As people know, the Red Woman, we need that Red Woman for some other things going on. Okay, so let's cut to our final scene of the episode, which is Craster's Keep beyond the wall. Jon is sitting by a fire. He hears a noise, looks behind himself. He sees Craster walking away from the camp with the baby. Jon gets up and he follows Craster and he investigates. He walks into the woods. He begins to hear strange noises. And then he hides when he sees Craster walking by without the baby. When Craster is out of sight, he runs into action. We get sort of action music as Jon sort of follows out to where the baby is in the direction of which Craster came from.
Oh no, there are no dwarves.
He sees a little figure lean down, a dark figure lean down and pick up a baby. And just as he's sort of eyeballing the situation, from behind him, Craster slams down and knocks his ass out. End of episode. Holy shit. And just to mention this, as we talked about earlier, in the book, Jon doesn't actually see this with his own eyes. Gilly actually does tell him what happens to the male babies. I like this change a lot. I like that we see this, and it's part of the setup of Jon Snow. And I like that they visually showed this to us rather than just tell us.
Me too.
Yes. Oh my God, we thought Jon Snow was dead here, as Vince says the first time we saw this. It was really awesome. It was
Will we ever see that baby again?
Maybe we do, Joe. Maybe we do. And that is the end of our episode. Joe, what did you think about this episode all in all? Another fun episode of Game of Thrones, and it was really fun.
I think it was a great episode. I forgot how good season 2 is. Like you were saying, it's one of my least watched seasons aside from season 5 so far.
It's not because I just don't like it. There's just so many times I've started season 1 over and over again just to watch those first couple of episodes, especially the original one. So let's get to a couple fun facts before we call it an evening here. The title refers to the Nightlands, the land of the dead in the Dothraki religion. Irya is devastated that Ricardo is not going to the Nightlands because his body was mutilated by his killers without being burned.
Yes.
Now, Tyrion's removal of Janos Slint is not entirely of his own initiative. In the books, his father Tywin considered it as one of Cersei's many follies that she handed out drastically disproportionate reward of a seat on the small council to the lordship of Harrenhal to a low-born and infamously corrupt man like Janos. Thus, Cersei can't overturn the decision to remove him because Tyrion had explicit orders from Tywin to do so, which also berated Cersei for elevating Janos in the first place. However, it was Tyrion's decision to not only strip him of title, but exile him to a wall because he felt he was questionable loyalty and because he was disgusted that Janos was a baby killer. Screenshot of Robb Stark's letter in the Balon Greyjoy, which was sent to Theon, is this. House Greyjoy, Lord of the ... Years ago, our houses fought as enemies. Unite them against a greater foe. Your son has proven himself a formidable warrior and friend of House Stark. Give him command of your fleet to crush the Lannisters, and I will give you independence you sought for 9 years ago.
See, that was Robb's mistake. He should have said, and you will take back the independence you sought forth.
Yeah, no, absolute. He worded it all incorrectly. Yep. And writer of the episode, Brian Cogman, explains that the production team wasn't sure in season 2 if they would eventually be able to include Stannis' daughter, Shireen, in the TV series. This is a considerable amount of thought actually went into Melisandre's line in the episode that Stannis has no sons, because they wanted to leave their options open to later say that he does have a daughter. And as it turned out, she was introduced in season 3.
To leave her out of the show would have been immensely bad.
Yeah, it would have been. I agree with you, Joe. And the quote was, at this point, we honestly didn't know if we would include Shireen or not. We never knew how many characters the show could handle. So we sometimes hedge our bets one way or another. So we made it clear that Selyse had given Stannis no sons, leaving the door open for Shireen if we needed her.
And see, that's one of the things that's not in the books as of written yet is, Stannis has refused over and over and over again. We even see it in season 6 to ever do anything bad to his daughter for the Lord of Light.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I just realized something. I'm an idiot. I'm saying it now out loud because I'm just realizing if anyone has saw the event that I set up for the Star Trek, someone said something in the chat, so it made me realize this. Deep Space Nine review. I'm going to have to change that. I have to touch base with Mark and change that because I'm going to see Star Wars, that movie. I mean, maybe we can still do it. I'm going to see Star Wars at like 10 o'clock, but I might change it with him to do it on a different day because of Star Wars that night. And I'm going to see one of the early showings and then doing a review afterwards. But the date of that might end up being changed. I know a couple of you might be checking that out. I got to talk to Mark about that. So we talked about a lot of the differences in the books between the show and what chapters and stuff like that. The episode refers to the title. According to the novels, Ricardo nor any of Daenerys' blood riders were killed. So far, all 3 of them are alive and well. In the novels, it's only implied that Stannis had sexual intercourse with Melisandre. While on the show, it's openly depicted. According to the novel, it was not Bronn, but Sir Jaqen Ironhand, who replaced Janos Slint. Littlefinger never has a conversation with the whore about the slaying of Robert's newborn bastards. In fact, Roz is never even a named character. Yara is named Asha. Later, Yara, pretending to be Eskrid, does guide Theon through Pyke, but she's not in Pyke when Theon arrives. It's Theon's uncle that's there. And the Gold Cloaks that attempt to arrest Gendry are met at an inn in the novels. Arya does not reveal her identity to Gendry until much later in the novels. They meet where Varys reveals that she knows Shay's identity. Later on, the warning that Jorah Mormont sent to King's Landing is not only a letter, but also a white severed hand in a jar. In the books, Bronn is not made commander of the Night's Watch. We talked about that. Salladhor Saan was recruited long before in the books. Sir Davos has 7 sons in the books: Dale, Allard, Mathos, Merrick, Devon, Stannis.
A lot of them are dead, though, aren't they?
Yes, he only has 1 in the show. In the show, Mathos is shown being King Stannis' scribe. In the book, younger sibling Devon is Stannis' squire. There's a lot of other stuff going on, but I think that's a good point to end. Everybody have a good night. It's so great of all of you to join us. I think this is a good place to cut off.
Peace.
Everybody, thank you so much. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. We will be back very soon to talk about episode 3 of season 2, and we're going to try to move briskly through these season 2 episodes, Joe. Try to get through season 2.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. If you have any questions, you can email me.
8 more.
I know we're very, very close.
Yeah, 8 more.
Everybody, thank you so much in the chat for being really awesome tonight. If you guys have any questions, please email me at IGotIssuesMan@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter at IGotIssuesMan. Follow Joe at DirtyLocks. If any of you guys have any requests for Game of Thrones theory videos or character profile type stuff, please you can request it in the comment section of this video, or please, even better yet, send me an email message. I'd love to do some of those silly videos like I do in front of the green screen type stuff, but do some Game of Thrones theory stuff. But I never know what to do it on. So if anyone has any ideas or anything they want me to do something on, please give me some requests and I will get that done. Anyways, Joe, I will talk to you next time, buddy. Have a good night.
You too, bro.
Good night, everybody. Love you guys in the chat.